RA. And as a businessman, Bob Jones knows that we need to be making products right here in America, not in China.
No more waste. Control the spending. No more excuses.
Paid for by Bob Jones for Senate.
Men, if you suffer from erectile dysfunction or PE, you can call other clinics and hope for the best. Or you can experience the Paramount Men's Medical Center difference. Their licensed physicians offer treatments that have a 98% success rate, regardless of age or medical history. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Schwartz. If you're not the man you used to be in the bedroom, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers custom blended medications with personalized care. Even men who have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And it's affordable.
Men, if Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, schedule a private consultation to experience the Paramount Men's Medical Center difference. See results on your first visit guaranteed, or your consultation is free. Call 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep. We have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Trusted information, live and local. From the award-winning KMOX Newsroom.
All right, we continue on the show here on KMOX. Amy Marks, Chris Rauji, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Happy to be joined by Rachel Kleinfeld. She's with the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. She studies how democracies work and how violence can play a role in politics and within democracies, which, of course, is a topic we've been talking a lot about here lately. Rachel, thank you for doing this. We appreciate you. How are you today?
So glad to be here. I'm doing well.
Rachel, I think the first question is, because it is still timely, your initial, or not really initial, but after weeks of hearings, what is your impression of what you've seen and what should happen next?
So I think it's quite clear that we had a president who was willing to allow violence to occur against his own professional colleagues in the Capitol building in order to try to keep himself in power. In other countries, we call that a coup or a self-coup, since he was a sitting president. It's not a real complicated situation when we look at that in other countries.
Yeah, when we've talked about that just visually, the optics of it alone, if we were to see something like that happen in another country, I think most of us would say, wow, that country is unstable right now. Their government is losing hold of the power that it exercises. However, when we do look at the United States government, in that moment, the center did hold. Do you feel that the momentum now is growing to weaken the way people view the authority of the U.S. government? Or do you think the fact that it held in that critical moment means that we can move forward?
You know, when you look at democracies, you look at risk factors and resilience factors. America, unfortunately, has nearly all the risk factors we look for unstable governments. Things like factionalized political parties, high levels of polarization, and so on. But it also has extremely high resilience factors. And what's worrying me right now is that 100+ Trump Republicans who either supported him on January 6th or running for office with similar ideas about how one treats democratic institutions are still in office or are winning their primaries. And that suggests there's an ongoing threat that could weaken our institutions, and that weakens our resilience factors. I should say that's not all Republicans. These Trump Republicans are different. It's not that they're conservative. Many of them aren't conservative. They're people who don't believe in the institutions of our democracy.
So I know there's this debate between whether there should be prosecutions after this because of what happened, but also we can't get in this trend where every time an outgoing party leaves office, the incoming party prosecutes somebody from that party, where there's just constant prosecutions just because it's a political opponent. So what should happen with the Department of Justice moving forward?
So I've been on both sides of this debate, I will admit. For a long time, I've argued publicly that we shouldn't be prosecuting someone like Trump because we just can't be a country where the outgoing party, as you said, prosecutes, the incoming party prosecutes the outgoing party. I've seen too many countries like that. But I think at this point, the evidence from the January 6th Select Committee presented by fellow Republicans in almost every case is so massive that if we don't prosecute based on criminal charges, the criminal activities that happened that day, we will be in abeyance of accountability. And a democracy also can't function when it doesn't hold people accountable for their actions, particularly actions that involve violence against police officers and other civil servants that uphold our democracy.
Dr. Rachel Kleinfeld is with us, senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, also the author of a book called Savage Order, A Savage Order, which kind of looks at the relationship between violence and democracies. And in your recent piece on persuasion, Dr. Kleinfeld, the beginning was intriguing to me. You're citing some polling information about how many people or what percentage of people that identify either Republican or Democrat kind of allow for violence as a part of their ideology. And my question to you is twofold. One, how big of a deal are the numbers that you see there? And two, how much do we want to put into the polling? And how much is that just people talking because they're emotional in the moment that they're answering questions?
So we hadn't been asking these questions until about 2017. And the early numbers were quite high and alarming. But as we got better at asking the questions, the numbers came down. However, in a country with 280 million adults, they're still too high. You don't want a couple million American adults justifying violence, and that's what we have. What we're seeing is numbers right now that look like Northern Ireland during its troubles, during its political violence period. And we're seeing justifications for violence on both the left and the right. We're seeing acts of violence largely on the right. On the left, some acts based on property violence. And what we're seeing also is on the right, the small percentage of people who remain committed to political violence feel strongly connected to the Republican Party. On the left, the people who justify violence are very disaffected with the Democratic Party. So these are very different forms of violence, but what we're seeing is on the right, it can be directed by political leaders because these are people who feel connected to the party. And on the left, it's violence that gets in the way of things because they're disaffected and they're mostly trying to support ethnic and racial minorities.
One thing that scares me, the trend that I see, are the continued narratives about a fraudulent election. Because when I look at countries that are inherently unstable, of course, you see these elections, they're sham elections. And if people in the United States don't believe in the integrity of the elections, to me, that is knocking down a cornerstone that holds up the entire foundation of our constitutional republic.
You're absolutely right. And all over the world, we see related to people who believe the elections were fraudulent, whether that's true or not. In this case, it's not. Democracy, we're talking about, it sounds really abstract to most people, but it comes down to who's willing to take the job of vaccinating your kids, of running schools, paving roads. These are really basic things that you need a government for. I've worked in countries that don't have much government. They are not nice places to function in. So you need people to take those jobs. And what we're seeing is political violence, threats, and intimidation that are directed toward moms running for school board or health officials trying to tell people to get their flu shots or wear masks. That takes apart the basic foundations of how a country functions.
Is there a peaceful way out of this where we are able to save democracy?
Absolutely. The good news is, America has high rates of people justifying violence, willing to consider it, but we have low levels of actual violence compared to a lot of the countries that I work in Colombia, Kenya, Mexico, so on. So we have room to turn this around. The most important thing for listeners to understand about political violence is there's a huge base of research showing statements from political leaders can bring down violence from their own side. And so we need leaders on the left to denounce property violence, on the right to denounce violence of all sorts, and to stop creating these campaign ads that use threats and violence in order to win a bigger base.
This may be a horribly simplistic way of phrasing this, so I apologize in advance. But if we were looking at this like the doomsday clock, how close to midnight are we in terms of this violence becoming more of a threat?
Closer than I want to be as a mom of two kids in this country, put it that way, a lot closer than I'd like to be.
When we look at federalism and the way the states are set up, it's by nature counter-revolutionary because people can kind of feel that they live in an area that reflects how they want to live. To what degree does federalism protect against civil war, and to what degree does it create politically isolated groups of people who want to become more violent?
Sure, there's a lot in that sentence, so let me try to unpack the question. First, you brought up civil war. I haven't been using that term, and that's because I don't think we're in for a civil war. I think most of the violence that we're seeing is from the right, as I said, and that violence is really focused on affecting our elections and affecting who has voice in our civil and political world. So their goal is not a war. Their goal is to win power. And it would only be if they start losing that power that you worry about a broader insurgency, something that looks more like Northern Ireland during its troubles. So that's what I'm worried about, is first use of power, second, something like the troubles. But your point on federalism is really important. Federalism is a huge source of resilience. It lets people have trust in their localities. That's still where trust is the greatest in America. And it lets people function within a geography and a culture that they agree with, because we are very different and we do have different values. What I worry about is that certain states will become somewhat like under Jim Crow, where violence was used to uphold a political order where some people couldn't vote. You could imagine violence and intimidation keeping some people from protesting, from voicing their beliefs in the public square, from running for school board or what have you. And that's a possibility.
Dr. Kleinfeld, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate the perspective. Have yourself a great day, and we'll look forward to maybe catching up down the road.
Thanks so much. Take care.
That is Dr. Rachel Kleinfeld, Senior Fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. You can find her on Twitter if you'd like to, at her name, at Rachel Kleinfeld, spelled exactly the way you would think it would. More coming up on the show. We're going to talk about the prisoner exchange that's being discussed involving Brittany Griner, United States, and Russia. We'll get to that next up on the show.
Mike Carter wants to be our senator, but Carter is not even registered to vote in this district. Doesn't live here. But there's more. Carter ran 3 times as a Democrat, even for lieutenant governor on the Barack Obama ticket. The company he helps guide got an F rating from the Better Business Bureau due to thousands of customer complaints. And Carter was a never-Trumper who repeatedly attacked Trump. Millions in ads can't change the real liberal record of Mike Carter.
The closer we look, the swampier Brian Spencer gets. Swampy Spencer voted to gut term limits for career politicians like himself so he could keep living off the taxpayers' dime. Swampy Spencer chose to protect rich special interests rather than save taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars for investments in our roads and public buildings. Swampy Spencer even voted to let career politicians like himself keep getting free lobbyist gifts, tickets, and trips. Swampy Brian Spencer, just another frog in the swamp.
Kingdom Leadership PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, and it is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Call Zero Res today and ask for the DGS special. This month, Zero Res of STL is offering a 3-room special starting at just $119 and $75 off air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com or call 314-474-2020.
The following is a commercial announcement.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need, and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money, simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
At 10:30, we have sunny skies, 84 degrees. It feels more like 90 downtown at the Arch. I'm Carol Daniel. The U.S. economy shrank from April through June for a second straight quarter, raising fears that the nation may be approaching a recession. The decline in the gross domestic product, the broadest gauge of the economy, followed a 1.6% annual drop from January through March. Consecutive quarters of falling GDP constitute one informal, though not definitive, indicator of a recession. JetBlue agreeing to buy Spirit Airlines in a $3.8 billion deal a day after Spirit and Frontier Airlines agreed to abandon their merger proposal. Flood relief is on its way from the Regional Business Council, donating $100,000 to the United Way and the American Red Cross. The United Way allocating the money for the St. Louis Area Food Bank. Both organizations are providing food, water, blankets, and other essentials to those affected by the flooding. The Backstreet Boys concert still on for this Saturday, even though the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater dealt with some flooding this week. Local fans reportedly anxious to see the group because the tour has been held off since 2020 when the pandemic hit. Taking a look at your commute. They're cleaning up debris westbound 64 past Kings Highway Boulevard. The right lane is closed there. There's a stalled vehicle westbound 70 before St. Charles Rock Road. It's on the right shoulder. The KMOX forecast, look for some rain this evening. Some storms could be drenching, especially south of the city. A high this afternoon of 88 degrees with cloudy skies and humid conditions. Right now it's 84, feels like 90 downtown at the Arch. I'm Carol Daniel, KMOX News.
So we were trying to come up with a title for this podcast. Let's have a shorter name that's catchier, that kind of speaks to you. And my wife, Gretchen, says, what about Hey Maine? Hey Maine. Hey Maine. So I gave in, just like I gave in when she wanted a cat. But I get to keep my subtitle, The Kenny Mayne Talks to Famous People podcast. So it's Hey Maine, The Kenny Mayne Talks to Famous People podcast. Get that wherever you get your podcasts. I think that's the tagline.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
This is Corey from Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling, here to tell you about an organization that is near and dear to our company and one we've been proud to sponsor, Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Greater St. Louis Honor Flight flies World War II, Korea, and Vietnam War veterans to Washington, D.C. for free to see their memorials. Greater St. Louis Honor Flight is looking for you. If you know of a veteran, please sign them up for their honor flight, or if you'd like to lend your support, visit gslhonorflight.org. And for all things heating and cooling, visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
When it comes to your health, you want the best care possible, right? Well, when it comes to your eyes, you'll find that at Ophthalmology Associates. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. From glasses, LASIK, or cataract surgery, and anything related to eye care, doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer are among the best. Dry eye is a concern for a lot of folks, and Ophthalmology Associates is the leader in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. They can help you understand your condition and treat it with the absolute newest, most innovative approach. Are you considering LASIK surgery? You need to call the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. If cataracts are a problem, these doctors use the most advanced multifocal lens implants to minimize the need for glasses after surgery. I've been a patient here for about 25 years, but forget that. More than 250 local doctors have trusted their eyes to Ophthalmology Associates. 314-966-5000 and youridoc.com.
Find out what's happening with your Redbirds from the manager himself, Oliver Marmol. Sundays at 10:15 on Sports Open Line and Wednesday mornings at 9:50. The Ollie Marmol Show.
I'm excited for not only the club but for the fans. This is a special year for sure.
On KMOX.
It's Thursday on the show here on KMOX, 10:35, or at least coming up on 10:35. Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Following up, these are not related stories, but staying kind of on a somewhat serious branch of the tree here in this segment. We talked a bit way back at the beginning of Brittany Griner's, I was going to say experience in Russia, but certainly a bad experience at that. We've moved forward. We don't have a done deal yet. We don't have a solid plan, but there was reporting yesterday that the United States and Russia are getting closer to an agreement that would get Brittany Griner home. That would also bring home, by the way, another American who's been stranded over there for more than 3 years and has been charged with espionage and held in jail there in exchange for this guy that they call the Merchant of Death. And all of this stuff is, I don't know, I mean, it all feels like a movie to me, right? We see these plots where we're going to try to trade one guy, prisoner exchanges, and figure out, what are we willing to give up to get our own citizens home? I'm just curious what you guys think, and if anyone wants to chime in at 436-7900, just curious what you guys think about this coming about, in part because someone who is relatively famous is involved.
Which I think is kind of the nature of the beast when it comes to Americans wrongly detained overseas, generally by geopolitical foes like China, like Russia, I know Venezuela. I don't know that we have the exact number, but there is an advocacy group for hostages, American citizens, journalists being wrongfully detained. They have 67 Americans are wrongfully detained primarily by geopolitical foes. And I guess it does come since the whole idea of these countries holding Americans hostage or having them in jail. It says 90% of them are considered wrongfully detained. It's all about optics and what you can leverage. How can they leverage this American citizen to either have a prisoner exchange, to force concessions, maybe in U.S. policy, and the higher profile it becomes, the more pressure the U.S. government has to act. And perhaps in some ways more leverage the offending country has to make its demands.
It's not a surprise that this would happen with somebody like you said, who's I think you called her a minor celebrity, Kevin.
I think I said something like relatively famous. Yeah, moderately famous.
Yeah, she is moderately famous. I think by now most people know who she is because she's detained. I'm not sure how popular she was prior to this, unless you're really into sports and you kind of follow everything that was going on. She's not a household name. She might be now, but I don't think she was at the time.
No.
She's continuing to get more and more press as a result of this. It stinks for the average citizen who is wrongfully imprisoned in another country, and the United States tries to get them out, but maybe doesn't offer up the same concessions in order to get those people out. But you're not going to do it with somebody who's low profile. I think that's just kind of it's not the best, but that's kind of how international politics works. And it almost makes me not want to go anywhere and get arrested.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Because I'm not anybody. Yeah, I'm not anybody. The U.S. government, Uncle Sam ain't coming for me.
Well,
they'll be like, we'll cut our losses with Ron. We'll be okay.
To your point, Wheeler, you said as part of the proposed prisoner exchange, nothing has been finalized yet. And this, I believe, is technically information that's been leaked by someone close to the situation. There's also a U.S. Marine who has been in prison.
A retired Marine.
Marine for 3 years. So
Paul Whelan is his name, and they accused him of espionage. He says it's a fabrication. And he's been in custody there for over 3 years.
So it took Brittany Griner and the amount of celebrity that she has to get his name in the stories.
I mean, there's
it's
a lot
the power of press. Really, is what that is.
It's some of it, but it's also like when you weigh the value of the pieces that you hold. And by the way, all of this sounds terrible because we're talking about human beings,
right?
And we're not talking about a sports trade. We're talking about trading human beings, one country to another. So I know it sounds terrible and it's not intended to be that way, but I don't know. I mean, I guess some of it comes down to how much of a threat the United States thinks the Victor Bout guy is, this Merchant of Death, and what his value is to them, right? I mean, are they going to give him up for one person? Or do they need to get, quote unquote, more value, which, again, sounds horrible, but this is how all of these things work out. It's about the leverage, and it's about what you're willing to go, how far you're willing to go to make this happen. And I'm really happy that even if it's because of Griner's fame, even if it's because it's become a cause, I'm happy that this leads to a guy coming home in Paul Whelan, who's been there for more than 3 years. So, no, it's not great. It's not the way it should be. But I'm still happy that the guy gets to come home, assuming this all gets completed.
And the thing that we really should keep in mind here, there are a couple of things. I don't know if we've mentioned them yet. One, this Victor Bout fellow was going to get out of jail within the next couple of years anyway. So it's not like he had a life sentence and he was never going to be released. That's number one. And number two, he sort of worked with the United States endorsement for many years. It's not like he just operated independently of the U.S. and we didn't allow him to operate or anything. We've known of him for a very long time, and I suppose it could be one of those things where when he's no longer useful, well, I guess you get to go to jail, right? So I don't know that we can't claim any moral high ground as a country when it comes to him, because he did essentially operate with our blessing for many, many years. So I think that's something we should keep in mind as well.
So we got a text on this topic, 314-436-7900. If you guys want to chime in on anything we're talking about, but specifically now for the next handful of minutes, this particular topic, we got a text from a 314 that said she knew exactly what she was doing. How in heaven's name do you feel sorry for Griner? She made a choice to go play basketball there. She made a choice to put things in her bag that don't belong there. I know you know it. She was rushed coming out of this is kind of jumbled here, but these are all basically excuses for what happened to being responsible for our own actions. To a degree, sure. I mean, when you go to another country, you probably should know the laws, and you should probably be very careful. If I'm going to Russia, I'm not taking any chances, kind of like what Ron said a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to break the law there. I'm going to know whether I can or cannot do something. But at the same time, for what she's being accused of, their penalty is harsh. And if our government can intercede to say, you don't go for 10 years for possession of a vape pen that has marijuana. I mean, that's
no,
ridiculous.
I agree with
silly.
that, but that's our standard as a democracy. I mean, we know that Russia is a dictatorship. You have an insane imperial building autocrat who does not care about human rights, who kills any political adversaries, who is engaged right now on a full-scale war against a neighboring country, committing terrible human rights abuses. We can't say, listen, buddy, that's a little harsh for marijuana. When you are in countries like that, it is risky for those very reasons, not only because if you go to a country that is maybe rampant in crime, or you go to a country that has different ideas of justice, when I know at any rate, in lots of different countries, the ideas of justice are quite different than ours. So I agree that the penalty is way too harsh. But Wheels, like you said, you've brought up many times, if the law is there, you know that's a law and you break it, that is an unnecessary risk that you took upon yourself.
Even acknowledging that, making a mistake and screwing up like that doesn't mean that your country should just leave you hanging.
No, it doesn't.
Right.
But you put
Right.
someone in a bad position.
Yeah.
I believe it's important to also note that, I mean, she did serve a punishment here, and we can say that our laws would not keep her in prison for that long, and we are not Russia, so you can't really compare those two things. I totally understand that, but I'm also going to concede the possibility that she did actually make a mistake and wasn't thinking, and I don't know if she put it in her bag or it was already in her bag, because I know sometimes when I pack, I have stuff that's in a bag that I've packed that's been there for like 4 years that I've never taken out. Like that's
I think she was there for a while before she was arrested.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, if she was there for a while, then where'd she get it?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not like
I mean,
you
if it's
couldn't have
not
had a
legal,
supply.
I mean, yeah, she
I don't know. I
don't
don't know. I don't know what weed is like or vape pens are like in Russia. I have no idea how available they are. But at any rate, it's possible that it was just in her bag and she didn't do it on purpose. So look, she served a punishment. I think it's okay to go and get her and bring her home. This doesn't really offend me. But I do think if you go overseas and you break somebody's laws, you have to pay for it. But I don't know, being in prison for 15 years or a lifetime or whatever they were planning to do with her is just outrageous.
And quick follow-up as we wrap up, I do think it's pertinent to note that last week, President Biden did issue an executive order that allows federal agencies to impose financial sanctions or other consequences on parties involved in hostage-taking or wrongful detentions. He also created a new State Department indicator to alert Americans where there's a risk of being wrongfully detained by a foreign government.
Yeah, and I don't think we're talking about anybody facing zero consequences for making mistakes. But I do think that as a nation, we have the right to protect our citizens from something that we believe is over the top. Because in some countries, you can receive the death penalty for things that should not be the death penalty, and we would protect an American from that, I would hope. This is not at that same level, and we can acknowledge two things. You made a mistake, and it's okay also to make sure that there's not something too much or too stringent going on over there. What's trending in the world coming up next on KMOX?
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great! Because Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis loves buying fix-up homes in any condition, as is, no fees and no commissions. Call 314-782-8000, and Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis will give you a cash offer right now. No strings attached. We buy inherited houses, divorce houses, trashed houses, even those my tenant won't pay rent houses. Call Chris at 314-782-8000 and find out how easy it is to work with us. That's 314-782-8000. Do you think your home will be difficult to sell? Easy. Our team will provide you with personal guidance through our short and simple process to turn your house into a pile of gold. Just call Chris at 314-782-8000. 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And let Chris worry about everything.
Paul, I voted myself a pay raise wheeling. That's one high-flying, lobbyist-loving, vote-missing, swanky trip-taking state senator. And he just wants to drink more of that swamp water. Woo!
An investigation found that Paul Whelan took more lobbyist gifts than all other Missouri lawmakers. He accepted over $23,000 in lobbyist gifts. Whelan even had special interest groups pay for his expensive trips to places like San Diego and Las Vegas. Maybe that's why Paul Whelan couldn't show up and do his job. He missed 141 votes in the state Senate. One vote he didn't miss. Whelan was one of just 2 lawmakers who voted to increase his taxpayer-funded salary. Now he wants to keep ripping off taxpayers as Jefferson County executive. On August 2nd, stop the taxpayer abuse. Send Paul Whelan packing for a different kind of trip. Home. Vote no on Whelan for county executive. Paid for by Let's Go Brandon Pack. Chris Vass, treasurer.
Hi, this is Chad Clayman with Clayman Group, where we buy property direct and as-is condition with a flexible closing date. My phone number is 314-946-9999, and I'm here with Calvin to tell you a little bit more about how we buy property.
If you're looking for a simple, smooth, easy real estate transaction, contact the Clayman Group today.
KLAMEN Group.com.
314-946-9999.
314-946-9999.
ClaymanGroup.com.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Pineview Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now. 314-530-7777.
His grandparents were murdered at Auschwitz. He's the son of a Holocaust survivor. His family fled the Iron Curtain of communism to come to America when he was just 14. George Haruza would become a St. Louis-based, world-renowned surgeon educator and physician leader. Now he wants to continue serving others as our next state senator. George Haruza sees the folly of defunding police in the midst of a crime epidemic spreading across our neighborhoods. George Haruza will work to cut state funding to any city that defunds their police. George Haruza supports getting more state dollars into our classrooms, technical schools, and colleges to better prepare students for high-paying, family-supporting jobs. As a doctor, George Haruza understands the importance of affordable and available health care. and that medical decisions should be between a patient and their doctor. George Harusa, because we need life-tested and proven leadership in the state Senate, now more than ever.
Paid for by Harusa from Missouri.
I'm Stephen Lynch at Volvo Cars West County. Our inventory is ramping up, and so are the deals. Visit today for $1,000 bonus cash offer and great markdown on select 2022s. Pick up a plug-in hybrid and get a $7,500 tax credit. Come see why Volvo Cars West County is the #1 Volvo dealer in Missouri. So when you think of Volvo Cars West County on Manchester Road, 4 miles west of 270, or go online for a seamless online purchasing.
Did you know that one of the health benefits of swimming lessons is burning more calories than jogging while providing ease on your joints? SwimOnFoundation.org.
Would you like a cleaning product that can be used in the garage, the laundry, and the kitchen, and save space in your cabinet? Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green. To learn more, visit us at simplegreen.com.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than $4? 314-441-4444.
You know that new sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this.
The show on KMOX.
What is it? What's happened?
What's going on? What do you know?
What just happened?
What happened?
I need to know.
Trending now on the show.
All right, trending sponsored by Old Town Donuts in Florissant and Connellville. Chris Raji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here on a Thursday. All right, I'm gonna go quickly first and jump in on the trending because I saw a trailer for a movie when I went to see Nope, and it's all over the place now. The trailer for Oppenheimer is out. I'm really looking forward to this movie. Obviously, it's a fascinating story, but also Cillian Murphy's pretty great, and Christopher Nolan is the filmmaker behind it. Really, really, really looking forward to the telling of that story.
Yeah, that's going to have a really good cast, too. And I'm so upset that we have to wait a year for that to come out. But I saw the exact trailer. It was more of a teaser trailer and not a whole lot of film in it. I cannot wait for that.
Looking forward to it. What do you got trending, Raj?
Well, I was actually going to go with that one.
Oh, no. Good planning by me.
That was good planning by all of us. But Mehmet Oz is trending. I feel like he's trending pretty much every day because he's running for Pennsylvania Senate, the U.S. Senate. He wants to be a member of that. However, he's a New Jersey resident. And John Fetterman, who is already there in Pennsylvania, is just in an all-out assault on Mehmet Oz for not being an actual Pennsylvania resident. Makes me think a lot about Josh Hawley, who's actually from Virginia, but is a Missouri senator. Does it matter to you guys if somebody runs for Senate for a state, to represent a state in the U.S. government, but does not live there and is not from there?
It does seem a bit odd.
I mean, that's what Hillary did in New York, right?
Yeah, she did.
Not a fan of the idea at all.
Doesn't Hawley live in, hasn't he spent most of his time in Virginia outside of?
I thought so, yeah.
Living in D.C.
Regardless of who it is or where it is or when it is, not a fan.
Yeah.
Not a fan at all.
Yeah. Well, I have Matt Gaetz is trending.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and apparently there is a group of very online people donating to abortion funds, but then hashtagging Matt Gaetz is triggered. And that's the story on Twitter, although I would have preferred that it be something to do with his super sketchy past, voting against any anti-human trafficking bill. We talked about that yesterday. There was a bill in 2017, anti-human trafficking. It passed the House 418-1. Matt Gaetz was the only no vote in this anti-human trafficking bill. So he's been trending a lot lately.
It's not funny, but it's funny. You know what I mean?
Too on brand. It's like a Saturday Night Live skit. That would be the skit.
He's trying to be that.
Yeah.
You know, he's trying to troll everybody.
Yes.
That's exactly what I feel. One of the problems with our current government, we have way too many trolls. We have way too many people right now that their entire purpose for being is to get a one-liner in or to insult somebody or to just be mean, like him when he was talking about women. And he's like, why is it the people who, and when he was talking at Turning Point USA, Why is it the people who are the most forceful about pro-choice are people you wouldn't want to impregnate anyway? People who look like thumbs. Like, are you doing a roast, man? Are you in government trying to make people's lives better? What are you doing? It bothers me that that's where we are. That insult. We have like a bunch of insult comics now who are in government. Get out. Go do something else.
Also, number one trend right now.
Okay.
Number one trend, #recession.
Yeah.
And actually, we just got word, Amy, a few minutes ago that we're going to have an economist on in about a half an hour, around 11:30.
Yep.
To kind of to get into whether or not it matters what we call it. Maybe does calling it the R word, the recession, does that make it worse? Does that cause problems in the marketplace because the marketplace is very reactionary? Interesting topic, but that is the number one trend in the U.S. right now is #recession.
No, a lot of questions because, too, money is an idea. We all decide what things are worth. That's how Dogecoin was worth so much for a short amount of time, which was a joke cryptocurrency. So Francisco
to the moon.
Francisco Buera of Washington University School of Economics. He will be joining us to answer the questions that we have, specializes in macroeconomics. He's also an associate editor at the Review of Economic Studies and the American Economic Journal.
All right, that'll be coming up at 11:30. When we continue on after the 11 o'clock news, we're going to talk about some news that broke yesterday regarding a third political party that's trying to make a launch, to try to make an impact. We're going to cover a couple of basic things. One, does it have any chance at all? Two, does it hurt either of the other parties in the upcoming 2024 elections? And what are they about? What do we know about the Forward Party at the moment? We'll hit those after the news on KMOX.
Guys, I want to talk to you for a minute, man to man, about erectile dysfunction and PE. How are you doing in the bedroom? Are you still the man you used to be? Or are you feeling the disappointment of ED? Are you experiencing the embarrassment of PE? Happens to a lot of us. That's why you should call Paramount Men's Medical Center. Their licensed physicians can help solve your problem. They'll talk to you about ED or PE. They'll offer custom blended medications. There's no pain or surgery. And you'll see results right in the office at Paramount Men's Medical Center. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, men are now lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history. And it's affordable. So, man to man, contact Paramount Men's Medical Center now for a private consultation. You'll see results on your first visit, guaranteed, or your exam is free. Call 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
We thought it was over.
Missouri Republican Governor Eric Greitens has just resigned this afternoon.
Scandal after scandal.
Already facing a felony charge, now accused of a second felony.
Now there's more about Eric Greitens.
Former Missouri governor is now accused of spousal abuse and intimidation.
In a sworn affidavit, Eric Greitens' former wife said,
I became afraid for my safety and that of our children due to Eric's unstable and coercive behavior. Physical violence toward our children, cuffing our then 3-year-old son across the face, yanking him around by his hair, a swollen face, bleeding gums, and a loose tooth. He said Dad had hit him. I wanted to protect our children because I was afraid of what Eric would do.
Scandals, felony charges, now physical abuse allegations. That's not conservative, but it's the real Eric Greitens. Paid for by Show Me Values PAC, showmevalues.org, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Show Me Values PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Beast Plumbing working all over the region, whether it's a small plumbing job in your home or your business, or it's a big job. You're having maybe issues with sewer and drain. They clean those out. They do a lot. It's a great company, and it's growing by leaps and bounds. They are in search of a great customer service representative and an office manager, and it's a great culture there. Charlie and Jess Beast lead that team. They are also looking for great plumbers. Of course, as the company grows, they need more good people, so check out beastplumbing.com. I do want to mention the July special. They are doing $75 off an Evo Pro 1100 XL garbage disposal. This garbage disposal is the 1100 XL Evo Pro. It's auto reversing, full stainless, super quiet, and it's the most effective disposal on the market currently. If you're in need of a new garbage disposal in your kitchen, get a hold of Beast Plumbing right away. You should have them in your contacts already. 314-698-1154 or online at Beast. That's BEIS plumbing.com. Tell them Bo sent you to Beast Plumbing.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, it's partly cloudy and 84 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. The government's latest economic report is raising fears the nation may be approaching a recession.
The economy shrank from April to June, contracting at a 0.9% annual rate. That's the second straight quarterly drop in the GDP, an informal, though not definitive indicator of a recession. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said yesterday it doesn't feel like one.
I do not think the U.S. is currently in a recession.
Saying too many areas of the economy are performing well, especially the jobs market. Still, there are concerns a recession may be coming as the Fed keeps boosting interest rates to ease inflation. Sagar Magani, Washington.
The U.S. has made what Secretary of State Antony Blinken calls a substantial proposal to Russia to secure the release of 2 Americans held there. One of the Americans is basketball star Brittany Griner. The other is Marine veteran Paul Whelan, who's been in a Russian prison for almost 2 years. His brother David says he has more hope now than in the past.
It's obviously it's a bright light. It may be a little bit of hope for something to happen soon.
Paul Whelan is serving 16 years in a Russian prison for espionage. The U.S. deal could see the release of a Russian arms dealer who is serving a 25-year sentence here. Flood relief is on the way from the Regional Business Council, which is donating $100,000 to the United Way and the American Red Cross. The United Way is allocating the money for the St. Louis Area Food Bank. Both organizations are providing food, water, blankets, and other essential necessities to those affected by the flooding. A House committee is holding a hearing today on national security with a top Justice Department official. CBS's Cammie McCormick reports.
Assistant Attorney General for National Security Matt Olsen said the threats against this country have only grown.
The country faces a persistent and dynamic threat from terrorism.
And while officials keep an eye on foreign terrorists, Olsen said the threat is growing from within.
There is no doubt that these threats are on the rise. The number of FBI investigations over the past 2 years has more than doubled of domestic violent extremists.
He said threats motivated by racism and anti-government ideologies are growing, and they often target law enforcement and even healthcare workers.
CBS News correspondent Jim Krasula reports on an alarming new study focusing on LGBTQ young people.
1 in 4 LGBTQ young people experiencing high levels of trauma said they had attempted suicide in 2021. That's according to a survey from the Trevor Project, an advocacy organization for LGBTQ youth. Over 300 anti-LGBTQ laws have been introduced nationwide this year, and at least 25 have been approved.
Organizations including the American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Medical Association have condemned legislation to restrict gender-affirming medical care. The First Mid-Bank and Trust Business Desk, a new competitor in the sky.
JetBlue has agreed to buy deep discount carrier Spirit Airlines. The price tag, $3.8 billion. The deal comes less than a day after Spirit ended a pending merger with Frontier because of a lack of shareholder support. The deal facing antitrust review. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel is up 192 points to 32,389. We've got debris on 364 West past Bennington Place. The center lanes are closed. And debris 6440 West past Kings Highway in the right lane. A stall 64 West before McKnight. And 70 East past Bermuda on the right shoulder.
Watch for a couple thunderstorms through this afternoon and evening. Some of those storms can be drenching, especially south of the city, and can lead to more flash flooding. High today of 88. Lingering thunderstorm tonight. Low of 70. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Benz on the Voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
Partly cloudy and 85 in Florissant, 86 in St. Peters, and 84 degrees. It feels like 92 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
All right, 11:04 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, Scores, Kevin Wheeler here. Choice of music is basically kind of the direction that we're going in this segment. Stuck in the middle. Clowns to the left, jokers to the right. I don't know that I'd be that nice if I'm being
You know what?
blatantly honest.
I don't like this because Amy sits between the two of us.
Well, that's fair. Yeah,
I don't like
actually,
this.
that
That's a great point,
Well,
Ron.
let's see. So I'm to the
I
left,
know it
then
is.
I'm the clown. So that means you're the Joker.
Yeah.
Not the
All right.
Joker, but a Joker.
You know what? I can handle that.
Okay, good. Anyway, the point of the music, the point of this transition is to talk about something that we've discussed quite a bit when we're doing something political, and that is the majority of this country is not extreme in their political views. The majority of people are somewhere toward the center of the spectrum. They might be a little bit to the left, they might be a little bit to the right, but the majority of people are not in the extreme. But at the moment, our two major political parties are almost forced to play to the extreme, because if they don't get those people participating, then the margins of victory or the margin of loss is so small in most big elections that their lack of participation could cost you the seat that you're trying to win, the presidency, for example. And I know that I feel this way. I mean, I'm sure you guys can both express this the way that you want to. I've been arguing for a long time. I would love to have more than two choices. I would love to have more than three choices, but a legitimate third party, if one could exist, would be great. Well, we got news yesterday that some people that have spent their careers as Republicans, some people that have spent their careers as Democrats, are now coming together to form what they call the Forward Party, which they want to establish. Their goal is to establish this as a legitimate third party in American politics that could actually have a chance of winning significant office. Because as we know, third party candidates have mostly been add-ons. They've been, in some cases, jokes. In other cases, they've played the role of spoiler for one party or another. So let's go start with a simple version of this, because we can get into the names of the people behind it, like Andrew Yang and Christine Todd Whitman. But I want to start with the basic premise. Do you think this concept has any chance of sticking around? And I throw that question not just to you two, but to our listeners as well. You can text 314-436-7900. If you're listening, do you think this kind of thing could have a chance, just given where we are now with so many people angry at the extremes? And would you be in for something that's in between, that's more centrist based than what we see right now?
I would be in for something that's more moderate. Here, I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth here, because I do say that you have the most extreme people on the left and the right who are the loudest. It's playing off of division, demonizing the other side. The end of America lies with Republicans, or the end of America lies in Democrats. So you have that extreme, which I say is really on the edges. And there is an exhausted majority in the middle who are fatigued and tired of it and just want to move forward. So now we have the emergence of the Forward Party. And my first thought is, this is never going to make it. Like, do you know what I mean? How can I say that? How can I say there's an exhausted majority and then at the same time say, no, this isn't going to make it? Quick note, because you brought up Andrew Yang, it also involves the Renew America movement that was formed in 2021 by dozens of former officials in the Republican administrations of Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump. Then you have like Andrew Yang, who became an independent, and the Serve America movement, which is a group of Democrats, Republicans, and independents, whose executive director is former Republican Congressman David Jolly. So this is the group we're talking about. My answer is, it's not going to make it. I hate to say it. I hate it.
Yeah, it's probably not going to make it. The only thing that could potentially make this work, and let me answer the first question first, I guess. Yes, I really wish there was a third party that was a legitimate contender for president, legitimate contender for national congressional seats. Yes,
sure,
I really do.
And for governor spots.
I wish there was that. Will this one in particular work? Probably not. However, the way it can work is if they start at the most basic levels of government around the country and don't just jump straight to president. Because that's what is ridiculous about like the Green Party. And I know there are Green Party people all over the country. I don't know how many there really are who are actually in office, but you can't just run straight for president. Yeah. Nobody knows who you are. You have no foundation. There's nothing behind you. You can't do that. And that's why they get beaten so badly when presidential races happen. So what you have to have is a party that actually appeals to members of the other two parties and not just one of them. The Green Party really only appeals to the Democratic Party. The Tea Party is essentially Republican. I don't even, does the Tea Party exist anymore? Or was that only when Obama was president?
Yeah,
that was never an actual party.
That was only when Obama was president.
That was just a faction of the Republican Party, though. It wasn't a third party.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like they are only Republicans, right? Like you've only got that. What you need in order for it to be successful is you have to find elements that appeal to people who call themselves Republicans now and people who call themselves Democrats. Because if you're only pulling from one party, all you're doing is ensuring that the other party is going to win and probably win badly.
Well, and it's important to note that this party, the Forward Party, which says we're centrist, we have no specific policies yet.
Yeah, we don't
so
have that.
It will say more apparently, and once it officially launches, which is today.
A month and a half. Oh, is it? But they also they're launching something in September too. They're going to have I think they're going to have a convention of some kind where they're going to make more
like a formal platform.
And here's the problem: the two pillars of the new party's platform that they've revealed so far. Here's the first one: reinvigorate a fair, flourishing economy. And here's what we all say. Great. We all want that.
Yeah.
But we all have different ideas on how to do that. Joe Biden wants to reinvigorate a flourishing economy. Trump wanted to. Obama wanted to.
Yeah.
Bush wanted to. We all could use that phrase. That would be a filler phrase. Like in an essay, if you were a teacher grading that, you'd say no specific information.
Tell me how, don't tell me what.
Yes, this is a little bit too vague.
Yes.
And give America more choices in elections. Well, I guess technically it would be one more choice.
Okay, but they do expand on that. So on their website, they have their platform, and they only list 3 things right now because, as I said, this is just coming out. They have not made all of that public yet. I'm sure that they're ironing all those details out, and I think we'll all have a better idea of what it's all about when the time comes. Also, by the way, I just want to say I'm with you guys. It's probably not going to do a damn thing, but
I feel like I'm at a wedding where I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's not going to last.
Yeah, it probably won't. But this is something that for me, this is not about January 6th. This is not about Trump. This is not about Obama. I felt this way about not about wanting another choice or even a couple of other choices for at least 20 years. And because again, I don't think that I can firmly identify myself with either of the two current ones. What we do know platform wise that they've put on their website, and it's just forwardparty.com, is that they have 3 things listed. Okay. One of them is they want to try to put in laws that would call for ranked choice voting, something our friends John Hancock and Michael Kelly are working on here, something that they've talked to us about, and in terms of an idea, makes a lot of sense. So this is a sensible thing that they're talking about that whether it changes the world or not, I don't know, but it's a sensible thing. Another one is non-partisan primaries, which would, again, open things up so you're not just running against people in your own party. And then the third thing they put in there is independent redistricting committees. In other words, stopping gerrymandering and reversing a lot of the work that's been done there. I am so down with that. I would rather have an artificial intelligence determining the voting districts than the way we have it now. I think it should be absolutely done based on rationality, on math, and not based on how does this help our party? How does this help our party? Well, let's just draw these squiggly lines so we can have an advantage. We'll move them all around so we can have safe zones. What they want to eliminate are safe districts where nobody can ever be challenged because of the way the lines are drawn.
And I think that's exactly the way it should be. Safe districts are the worst, the absolute worst, because what ends up happening a lot of times is in some states, you will have the percentage of people who vote for one particular party is like, you have like 67% of the population voting for one party. However, the other party, because of gerrymandering, ends up flipping like more than 55% of the seats. You know what I mean? Like they win more seats, even though fewer people voted for them. That is a system that does not work. It's not representative. And what it does is it ends up forcing people to not vote because you just feel like, all right, well, what does my vote matter then? If the majority of us want this one party to win, but the other party gets the minority of the votes and ends up getting more seats, what kind of democracy is that?
Yeah. Guys, can I just give you my first gut reaction to the Forward Party as a name?
As a name?
I pictured Andrew Yang at a bar walking up to a lady going, "Hi, I'm Andrew Yang. I like nonpartisan primaries. How do you like your eggs in the morning?" I'd be like, "Oh, wow, that was pretty forward." That's what I pictured. The Forward Party. They sound really forward. Just go to a break.
You are.
I actually
What in the?
I actually think I have to go to a break because I don't have any words.
You don't have any fun. You've been poo-pooing my ideas all morning. Wheels, all morning I have had great ideas that are fun, and he poo-poos them.
I didn't make you tell that joke.
You poo-pooed the emu yesterday.
Ron, should we have poo-pooed that joke?
We need to stop poo-pooing.
All right. Hey, listen, we're getting a lot of reaction on this question on the topic. We're going to get to your reaction on the text line, 314-436-7900 when we come back on the show.
A massive storm hit St. Louis.
Historic rainfall.
We've never seen flooding like this.
A great number of people and businesses have been affected by this weather event.
Flood and storm damage.
Devastation. It was unbelievable.
Your help is now needed. To find information on flood donation opportunities and a complete list of items needed, go to KMOX.com/relief.
Paul, I voted myself a pay raise wheeling. That's one high-flying, lobbyist-loving, vote-missing, swanky trip-taking state senator. And he just wants to drink more of that swamp water. Woo!
An investigation found that Paul Whelan took more lobbyist gifts than all other Missouri lawmakers. He accepted over $23,000 in lobbyist gifts. Whelan even had special interest groups pay for his expensive trips to places like San Diego and Las Vegas. Maybe that's why Paul Whelan couldn't show up and do his job. He missed 141 votes in the state Senate. One vote he didn't miss. Whelan was one of just 2 lawmakers who voted to increase his taxpayer-funded salary. Now, he wants to keep ripping off taxpayers as Jefferson County executive. On August 2nd, stop the taxpayer abuse. Send Paul Whelan packing for a different kind of trip. Home. Vote no on Whelan for county executive. Paid for by Let's Go Brandon Pack. Chris Vass, treasurer.
Hi, this is Kent Newbold at Newbold Toyota. If you're worried about gas prices, Toyota has the most models of hybrid electrics in the industry. From the best-selling Camry to the best-selling RAV4, we've got it all. So come see us. That's Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Can you believe someone who wants our vote has publicly supported a candidate accused multiple times of child abuse, domestic violence, and sexual assault?
Child abuse? Domestic violence? Sexual assault?
Yep, that's who Ben Brown supported.
Well, that's awful.
It gets worse. Ben Brown said he'd join a small group in the Senate who have blocked conservative reforms just to protect their rich donors and pork barrel projects. Brown has already taken thousands of dollars from them.
That's terrible.
There's more. Ben Brown has repeatedly failed to pay his taxes on time and has paid as much as a year late.
Well, surely that's it.
Sadly, no. Bad Ben Brown has had multiple criminal offenses. He's been in fights, court disputes, and charged with other violations.
Ben Brown is clearly the wrong choice for state senator.
That's why I call him Bad Ben Brown.
Paid for by the Right Direction PAC.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Pineview Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now. 314-530-7777.
Nearly a century of informing, entertaining, and serving St. Louis. KMOX.
It's 11:20 on the show. Hey, 11:20. Look at that. Amy Marscourse, Chris Ranji, Kevin Wheeler with you here on the show. You can catch us, by the way. I mentioned 11:20. We all know that's the 50,000 watt blowtorch signal. You can also catch us on 98.7 FM if you're in and around the downtown area, down the Highway 40 corridor. And I'm telling you, it reaches into St. Charles County as well because I live out there and that's where I listen.
And I can get it over in Illinois, Kevin. Don't
that.
forget about our Metro East
I do not
people.
want to forget that. People check out 98.7 FM. And of course, you can always use the audio app to catch us as well. All right. So last segment, we started the conversation about this new Forward Party. They're trying to launch. A key word here is trying to launch what would be
Quit laughing at them, Amy.
It's just the name, the Forward Party.
It's not a good name. I would agree with that.
If you think of someone as being a little forward.
Yeah. But, they're actually, the other definition, moving forward, I think we can go with that one. But
that's not even what I thought of. You're the only person to.
Yeah. But obviously what they're trying to do is what nobody has been able to do in this country ever.
Right.
And that is, or at least, somebody will be
Modern
like,
history.
hey, in 1794, there was this third. I'm like, all right.
What about the Whigs?
Yeah. In modern times, we haven't had a legitimate, sustainable third party. We've had third party candidates. There are other parties outside of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, but they're very small. They don't have large representation. They're not winning big national elections. This is an effort to change that. And we just asked for your reaction. 314-436-7900 is the concept, if not the platform, because we don't know the entirety of their platform here. So the details are going to tell us a lot when we get them. They might put up a bunch of stuff and we'll all go, well, that's a terrible idea. We don't want to do that anymore. But at least the concept, is the concept appealing to you? And we've got a bunch of reactions on this. We got one in the 636 saying it's going to take a lot of time and money. And obviously they have to control their own message. I agree that we have to look at this. And I think, Ron, you made the point that too often third-party candidates shoot straight for the moon. They go right for the big one. We're going to run for president. I do think you need to establish a foothold. It's going to take time to have the chance to win national elections, right?
Yeah, there's just no way that you can build a foundation strong enough around the country unless it's almost like name value in a way. Like wherever you live, you have either a Democrat or Republican or maybe an independent, maybe a few sprinkled in here and there, who are on the school board or are in your city government or whatever. But you very rarely have like a Green Party person there. Like you have to have a lot of Forward Party members of government around the country before you can even start to dream about national office, because people don't know who you are.
Great point. And you got to have support, right? I mean, you need teams in all the states, you need all kinds of things that don't exist at this point. And if they're going to build that, fine. We got a text here from Big Blonde Dan, says the biggest problem with a third party is that our presidential election system, the Electoral College, is structured for two. It hasn't happened since 1824, but if no candidate wins the majority of the electoral votes, the vote goes to the House. The House then chooses the new president from among the top three candidates. Then the Senate elects the vice president from the remaining two candidates. The U.S. people would flip out if that happened. Not going to lie, I'd probably flip out if that happened.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty terrible, because it's a good point. If there is a legitimate third party, and let's say they do establish some kind of foothold, well, nobody is going to get a majority. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I guess it depends. Could they get enough in the Electoral College? Possibly, but it would seem unlikely if you are like legitimately eating into the way that the votes are tallied for these two parties. Like you would have to cannibalize both of them to make enough impact for that to happen. But I mean, that's a legit. I mean, that the fact that this is not, we're not necessarily structured for it is, I would say, a concern.
Yeah. What's so interesting is,
thank you, Dan,
with this party being centrist and not having articulated any of their policies except for some pretty broad goals that, again, we can all agree that we want the American economy to flourish. How do we get there? That's the kicker. Very, very different ideas. So we don't know. Would this third party bleed voters from Democratic voters? Would it bleed from Republican voters? Would it be not a significant number at all to matter? Or would it really mess things up for one of the parties? Let's say it really throws a wrench in the, where do you throw the wrench? You throw it in the gears, the plans.
Well, you just say you're throwing a wrench into the plans.
You throw a wrench into something. Okay. Yeah. And it really messes up that party. Maybe they regroup. Maybe it forces that party to get its act together. If that's the case, which I feel like I'm being way too optimistic here, I would want the GOP to look at itself, right? Do a hard look and say, we have got to figure out what direction we're going to take. Are we the MAGA party? Are we the party of traditional conservatives and that old school Reagan conservative, which Donald Trump was not? I don't know.
I think based on behavior, though, the most likely scenario is that the forward party primarily draws from the Democratic vote. I think the Republicans are going to vote Republican.
I think it's Andrew Yang, too. He ran as a Democrat.
He ran as a Democrat,
but then as
and
an
then he went independent. Yeah.
And a lot of interesting levels to this, and we're going to talk about this with Hancock and Kelly tomorrow in the first hour of the show to get their opinions on it. And there's so many more angles. I mean, we're not going to be able to get into them here. Maybe we'll bring them back a little later on in the show, but we can look ahead to who might take the worst hit if this were going to gain a foothold in 2024. But obviously not a lot of time left to dig into what I think there is a pretty deep conversation. We got a text from the 314 saying, I'm the kind of voter that's caught in the middle. So yes to a third party, fiscally conservative, socially more liberals. That's the texter describing themselves, and says, wish it would work and we could get away from the extremes. I have many friends that are with me on this. I think a lot are wanting to get away from the extremes. But as we're wrapping up this segment, and by the way, great stuff on the text line. We'll pick some of this back up a little bit later on to get to your messages. If you want to leave us a voicemail, you can. 314-944-1120. I think there's a lot of sentiment to that, but the details are going to matter here.
Well, the extremes are sexy. The middle, moderate centrism, it's not fabulous enough. You know what I mean? It's like the fringe, crazier you are, the more it appeals to people.
Make normal fabulous again. That will be our new thing for
fabulous.
MNFA. Okay.
I know your anger. I know your dreams. I've been everything you want.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking now. Without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $49.99 guaranteed. Designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. For only $49.99, become a non-smoker. That's right. Seminars Wednesday, August 3rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in St. Louis, and Thursday, August 4th at the 4 Points by Sheraton in Fairview Heights. Stop Smoking Seminar 8 to 10 p.m. Registration 30 minutes before seminar.
The Wall Street Journal reported that home equity is at record levels, and while home values continue to soar, rising interest rates make it harder than ever to unlock equity. But what if you could cash out your home's equity right now while it's still sky high and not have to move? You can with TrueHold.com. TrueHold will buy your home for full cash value. Best of all, you get to bank all the cash now and continue living in your home. And TrueHold Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance too. Let's review. Truehold pays your home's full value in cash fast. Use your cash to do everything you've dreamed of, like travel or pay off debt. Call 855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com for the smarter, faster way to cash out your home's full value without having to move. 1-855-300-9993. 1-855-300-9993 or go to Truehold.com.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it.
When your kid can't find the language, find the lyrics. Start a conversation at soundedouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
At 11:30, we've got some sun, clouds, 85 degrees downtown at the Arch. The U.S. economy shrank from April through June for a second straight quarter, contracting at a 0.9% annual pace, raising fears that the nation may be approaching a recession. Consecutive quarters of falling GDP constitute one informal, though not definitive, indicator of a recession. A Baltimore family is suing the owner of Sesame Place after the family says their 5-year-old daughter was snubbed at the amusement park because of the color of her skin.
The $25 million lawsuit comes after a video shared widely on social media showed 2 other Black girls being waved off by the costume character Rosita during a meet and greet parade at the park in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, outside Philadelphia. But the video shows the character greeting or high-fiving white families before and after the Black children. Sesame Place apologized in a statement and promised more training for its employees. I'm Donna Warder.
For 28 years, Sesame Place, Busch Gardens, and SeaWorld were owned by St. Louis-based Busch Entertainment, part of Anheuser-Busch Companies. Now they're a separate publicly traded firm. We've got the exit closed, 255 at State Street. We've also got debris, 364 west past Bennington Place. The center lane's closed. And the forecast from AccuWeather, a couple of thunderstorms through this evening could be drenching, especially south of the city, and could lead to more flash flooding with a high today of 88. Mostly cloudy overnight, lingering shower, low 70. Tomorrow, less humid with a mix of clouds and sun. A welcome break from the recent heavy rain with a high of 83 degrees tomorrow. It's 85 now, feels like 93 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
President Trump had it right. That's why State Senate candidate Mary Elizabeth Coleman stands with Trump and will fight for Trump's agenda, protecting us from crime by defending police, protecting neighborhoods by keeping illegal immigrants out of Missouri, and protecting unborn children as the only candidate endorsed by Missouri Right to Life. Mary Elizabeth Coleman for State Senate, standing with President Trump, protecting Missouri families. Paid for by Conservative Solutions for Missouri. Greg Keller, Treasurer.
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great, because Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis loves buying fix-up homes in any condition, as is, no fees and no commissions. Call 314-782-8000, and Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis will give you a cash offer right now. No strings attached. We buy inherited houses, divorce houses, trashed houses, even those my tenant won't pay rent houses. Call Chris at 314-782-8000 and find out how easy it is to work with us. That's 314-782-8000. Do you think your home will be difficult to sell? Easy. Our team will provide you with personal guidance through our short and simple process to turn your house into a pile of gold. Just call Chris at 314-782-8000. 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And let Chris worry about everything.
Albert Pujols comes to bat.
Cardinals slugger Albert Pujols talks with Tom Ackerman Mondays at 9:50.
He hits a fly ball left field, and it's gone!
Exclusively on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Coming up on 11:34 on the show here on KMOX. Chris Ranji, Amy Markscores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. We've been talking a lot about the economy. We've been trying to discuss the concept of recession versus no recession, the use of the word, what that could mean. And none of us have the expertise to break this down. So we reached out to Dr. Francisco Buera from Washington University. He is the Sam B. Cook Professor of Economics. First of all, Dr. Buera, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you joining us.
Hi, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be.
All right. As Kevin pointed out, we've got questions. So we know that the U.S. economy experienced 2 consecutive quarters of negative economic growth. Now, I think the last 10 times that happened, an official recession was declared. This time, that hasn't happened yet. Can you explain where we're at and why, at least at the moment, a recession hasn't yet been declared?
So that's a good question. Let me go through the more technical definition according to the NBR. That you can think of it as the organization that bring together U.S. academic economies. So they will say that a recession, it will be a significant decline in economic activity that is spread across the economy and lasts for more than a few months. The 3 key criteria are the depth of the recession, that is diffused through the economy, and that its duration is long enough. As you well said, there have been 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. That being said, there were relatively small declines, and there's still a lot of signs of a strong economy. One of them will be the employment numbers. So the latest employment numbers have been quite strong. So there's positive signs and there are negative signs. So that's part of what is missing.
Is there?
I would say.
I'm sorry, Doctor. Is there a possibility though that with the direction of the economy now, that those employment numbers are going to start to decline, maybe even rapidly?
We'll see. The next number is coming up in a little bit over a week. But that would be a possibility.
Now, we speak a lot about this in terms of kind of practicality, right? We're not as deep into the details and the numbers, if you will, but language is a part of this. And we have people that want to use the term recession or don't. How much can the words that we choose influence the marketplace and influence people's behavior? Because really, we are talking about human behavior in all of this.
Totally. So individual expectations matter a lot for the economy. It matters a lot for what's going to happen with inflation, and it also matters for people's shopping behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So those expectations are important. So yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that.
And I was listening to a couple of news stories regarding whether or not we should say the word recession or if the definition of the word recession has changed. I know you kind of explained where we're at right now. Has the definition of recession always been kind of fluid?
So I guess there's a definition that a lot of economists will use, and there's a measurement of that comes from a committee that meets at the NBR, the National Bureau of Economic Research. That's mostly important for us economists as how to think about the past data. For individual people, what it matters is what's happening with their own behavior, their own income, and so on and so forth. And that depends a lot on where each individual is. For example, even though the GDP were negative for the last 2 quarters, if one look at the service part of the economy, that have been is still booming. And to the extent that a large fraction of the U.S. Labor force is in services, it's fair to say for those workers, they haven't experienced that large of a contraction. On the other hand, most of the contraction have been in the good producing sectors, so those workers working in manufacturing would be more aware of a slowing down in the economy, or firms devoting producing goods rather than services. So it depends a lot of where one is in the economy today, and that's part of the lack of a diffusion of economic contraction that make it for some hard to say that we are clearly in a recession. Yeah, that's part of the nuisance I wanted to highlight.
Mm-hmm. And the last thing I have for you is what the Federal Reserve did by raising the interest rates. Was that the correct thing to do? Because I know there's a little bit of debate about that. They want to stave off inflation, but also don't want to send us technically into a recession. So they raised the interest rates again. Was that the right move?
I guess I will say that one of the primary objectives of the Fed is to keep price stable. As you well said, there's a dual mandate. There's a mandate to keep price stable and maximum employment. And depending on where we are in different periods, the Fed will pay more attention to one versus the other. I will say, given the rise in inflation and the relatively sustained rise in inflation over the past year, is natural for the Fed to show a clear commitment to price stability. Given that, I think it was the right decision, and that's important because one of the dangers the Fed have been facing for the last year was not giving a clear message that they are committed to price stability. And if that commitment is not clear, what could happen is that we're going to have a more prolonged inflation, and it will be even harder to bring that inflation down, and it will require even more of an effort in terms of economic activity to stabilize prices. So that's part of what is in mind of the Fed today in showing a clear message for price stability, even though there's obviously a trade-off involved.
Dr. Buera, thank you so much for the insight. We appreciate you, and thank you so much for coming on KMOX with us today.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
You got it. Francisco Buera, he is the Sam B. Cook Professor of Economics at Washington University. So obviously there's a lot to debate and certainly beyond my pay grade to debate whether or not the Fed should or shouldn't take the action that they did. But interesting to hear his opinion on it, that that actually was the right way to go at this point. And you know, at this, it's such an interesting balance because you're trying to make sure that one element doesn't get out of hand without having too dramatic of an impact on, say, the stock market or on the things that do fluctuate with people's emotions, and not just based on what the numbers are actually doing.
That's what's so interesting about economics and this entire theory, right, of the Federal Reserve. And how do we find financial stability? How do we instill confidence in a country when there's inflation? How do we balance it without doing too much? Versus math, where 2 + 2 = 4. And it's that hard science with economists. They're working with trying to guess human behavior, trying to project years into the future, trying to prognosticate. It's not like you can figure out a perfect equation and everyone does that equation. And if you do it correctly, you get the same answer. You can have really experienced and knowledgeable experts differ greatly on the best steps to take.
What's dangerous about this situation we're in now, and I am not an economist, I cannot pretend to tell you what the correct thing for them to have done is, the Fed I'm talking about here, in order to bring down prices and try and stave off inflation as much as possible. So I don't know what's going to happen here next, but what does seem likely is that the average person is going to take the brunt of this. That it may be unavoidable that we go into a recession, but borrowers who are average people, those are the people who are probably going to be the most affected by this. Meanwhile, you've got companies that are doing great, like billion-dollar companies. People who are extremely wealthy are going to, as they always do, come out on the other end of this just fine. But the reality is the middle class is going to take a hit here, I would imagine. If they don't, I will be very, very surprised.
We always do.
Yeah.
Always.
We always.
I mean, we
swear it.
already are. It's
Yeah.
like what, and that's why what's so interesting, because words matter. I listened to an interview with NPR. Wheeler, I told you this a couple of days ago, and it wasn't Mary Louise Kelly. It was one of the staple weekend edition NPR reporters who was talking to an economist, and she was asking about the recession, and he kept getting mad at her for using the word recession. She's like, "You're using it again. It's people like you who continue to use this word." And she said, "I don't know how to ask you about it without using the R word."
Yeah.
And it's funny because we are talking about it a lot, and because it's such an idea, I don't know, perhaps even having a conversation about it makes it worse.
Yes, we had a texter that said, look, recession is 2 quarters of negative growth. Bam, we're there. that may be the truth. That doesn't mean that everybody wants to keep saying it because, again, there are psychological elements here. It doesn't mean that you have to technically change the definition to try to make sure people aren't freaking out.
But also, it doesn't mean 2008 level of recession. It could be a smaller one like we saw in 01.
All right, so we had a media person recently lose their job and their credibility, and now they're back. Oh, come on, man. We'll get to that next on the show.
Mike Carter wants to be our senator, but Carter is not even registered to vote in this district. Doesn't live here. But there's more. Carter ran 3 times as a Democrat, even for lieutenant governor on the Barack Obama ticket. The company he helps guide got an F rating from the Better Business Bureau due to thousands of customer complaints. And Carter was a never-Trumper who repeatedly attacked Trump. Millions in ads can't change the real liberal record of Mike Carter.
The closer we look, the swampier Brian Spencer gets. Swampy Spencer voted to gut term limits for career politicians like himself so he could keep living off the taxpayers' dime. Swampy Spencer chose to protect rich special interests rather than save taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars for investments in our roads and public buildings. Swampy Spencer even voted to let career politicians like himself keep getting free lobbyist gifts, tickets, and trips. Swampy Brian Spencer, just another frog in the swamp.
Kingdom Leadership PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, and it is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Oh, I voted myself a pay raise wheeling. That's one high-flying, lobbyist-loving, vote-missing, swanky trip-taking state senator. And he just wants to drink more of that swamp water. Woo!
An investigation found that Paul Whelan took more lobbyist gifts than all other Missouri lawmakers. He accepted over $23,000 in lobbyist gifts. Whelan even had special interest groups pay for his expensive trips to places like San Diego and Las Vegas. Maybe that's why Paul Whelan couldn't show up and do his job. He missed 141 votes in the state Senate. One vote he didn't miss. Whelan was one of just 2 lawmakers who voted to increase his taxpayer-funded salary. Now he wants to keep ripping off taxpayers as Jefferson County executive. On August 2nd, stop the taxpayer abuse. Send Paul Whelan packing for a different kind of trip. Home. Vote no on Whelan for county executive. Paid for by Let's Go Brandon Pack. Chris Vass, treasurer.
If your house sits on a double lot and you're interested in selling it instead of mowing the extra ground, we're interested in buying it. We've been buying a lot of infill lots throughout the greater St. Louis area, and we're even buying raw ground. So if you have any land you're interested in selling, whether it's a vacant lot, raw ground, or house on a double lot, we're interested in buying it. We'll even subdivide it ourselves. Please reach out. Clamengroup.com. KLAMEN Group.com. 314-946-9999. 314-946-9999.
Whether you're looking to fill low spots in your lawn, backfill that new retaining wall, or mulch your trees and flower beds, St. Louis Composting has the compost, soil, or mulch you need to help your plants and garden look its very best. Visit our website, stlcompost.com, for more information.
Hello, this is Dave Walker, former Comptroller General of the United States. The federal government has grown dramatically, promised too much, lost control of its budget, and must restructure its finances in order to create a better future.
I agree, Dave. This is Ken Heisey from Heisey Advisory Group, and you're invited to a special event on Thursday, August 25th. Dave and I will talk about our country's financial issues and how they may impact your retirement. Learn why it's critical to take action now and discover strategies that can help protect your future. If you've saved at least $750,000 for retirement, call 314-328-4400 to register for this special event. After a decades-long mission to promote fiscal responsibility at all levels of government, you won't want to miss what Dave has to say. Call 314-328-4400.
Dave Walker is not affiliated with and does not endorse Heisey Advisory Group or AE Wealth Management, LLC. Heisey Advisory Group may not provide tax advice and is not affiliated with the U.S. government. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
I'm Stephen Lynch at Volvo Cars West County. Our inventory is ramping up, and so are the deals. Visit today for $1,000 bonus cash offer and great markdown on select 2022s. Pick up a plug-in hybrid and get a $7,500 tax credit. Come see why Volvo Cars West County is the #1 Volvo dealer in Missouri. So when you think of Volvo Cars West County on Manchester Road, 4 miles west of 270, or go online for a seamless online purchasing.
In the Republican primary for U.S. Senate, Missourians have one clear conservative choice, Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler. Promoting and protecting Missouri values, she's a leading advocate for our veterans, ensuring that those who have served our nation have access to the best possible care. Vicki Hartzler has fought for our rural hospitals, and she's continuously pushed to have essential medication available for those in need. For our safety and security, Vicki Hartzler has led the effort to bring medicine production back to the United States. Vicki Hartzler, a proven fighter with a record of getting things done. Missouri has the chance to elect a true leader with a servant's heart. On August 2nd, vote for Vicki Hartzler for U.S. Senate. This message paid for by the American Society of Anesthesiologists PAC, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. ASAHQ.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
How long does it take an adult to learn to swim? It typically takes 20 hours of set lessons. What are you waiting for? Go to swimonfoundation.org.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than four? 314-441-4444. Dude, I'm here for the show.
What show?
St. Louis, this is your show.
The show.
The show on KMOX.
Coming up on the top of the hour here on the show, Chris Raji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler. If you'd like to chime in on any of the topics we have going, you can always send us text. We got great text response on the question about a third political party, and one is being launched. I don't know if it's going to last or if it's going to be like the Hindenburg, go up really, with a lot of fanfare and come down. We're going to get some more reaction because. Oh, geez, Raj.
I know. I can't believe you went there.
What?
Oh, geez. I like to think of the wedding where we're all leaning over going, it's sweet. And then we go to each other. That's not going to last.
When talking about this party. And again, I would love for there to be something more substantial that can change some of the way things are going. I don't know that this will, but that's what we're talking about. We got some reaction on the text line at 314-436-7900. Few of those messages we didn't get to, we're going to bring back later. We got a couple voicemails on it, too, at 314-944-1120. So we'll get to that coming up after the top of the hour news and moving into the rest of the show. Now, the tease I just went through was a media member who went out, I would say, in disgrace.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it funny? I have a handful of names. Like when you say a media member who left in disgrace.
There's a lot of
them.
There's one in particular we're talking about here, and that's Chris Cuomo, who was let go by CNN.
I thought you were talking about me.
No, you're not a disgrace. You're just goofy.
Okay.
But we all know the story of Chris Cuomo. He was let go by CNN because of conflicts of interest involving his brother, who was in some trouble. His brother, Andrew Cuomo, was accused by several women of sexual assault, and it turns out that sounds like the two brothers were talking about messaging and communication and maybe spinning the story. And then when that got out, CNN was like, dude, you got to go.
He was an embarrassment, though. Not only is it a degradation to his profession, but remember, in the middle of the pandemic, he's interviewing his brother, the governor of New York, with the giant Q-tip, like a really big prop Q-tip, joking about testing.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, there was a lot there, and he's the reason we're bringing him up is he's back with News Nation, which I think is Dan Abrams' thing. Dan Abrams is another guy that used to be in the bigger media who went out a long time ago. He's been doing other side things like some of those police car chase shows. Live PD, I think, was his big show. Was a successful show, and they had to change that obviously for a bunch of reasons. But regardless of that, the point is that a guy that went out in disgrace, not just for behavior. Jeffrey Toobin's thing was terrible and probably shouldn't have made a comeback. But that and some of the other things that people in the press have come back from to get new jobs, they're bad. But this directly undercut him as a journalist. It undercut his credibility in this field. And I think it's ridiculous that he's back. And I know it's not mainstream. I know it's just it's just Dan Abrams' baby. But how do you put any credibility into what that person says when they've shown that they will clearly apply a different set of standards to different people?
I suppose you could look at it just as a talk show which is what pretty much every cable news show after 6 o'clock is. They're talk shows. They're talk shows that you look at instead of listen to. It's the exact same thing with a lot of opinion. I am trying to remove my my personal preference from this, because my personal preference is Chris Cuomo as a host did nothing for me. Like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I did think it was kind of entertaining when he had his brother on, because it was like two brothers bickering a lot, which I guess is kind of funny. But for a news program, it didn't do anything for me at all. And the fact that he was, advising his brother who was going through this, and of course you're going to help out your family, right? Whenever your family is going through something or is in the middle of something, or the reason something bad has happened, because they are your family, you're very likely to protect them. It's just how it's human nature. It's how people are. But if that's who you're going to be, you can't also be a person who's supposed to be somewhat objective and supposed to be presenting news to people. So I like, he lost his job, and I think he absolutely should have lost his job. And I'm not saying that because I didn't really care for him as a host. I'm saying it because we need fewer people like that who have those positions of prominence on television news.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he was operating under the mantle of objectivity when he was obviously misleading the public regarding his involvement with his brother, the governor of New York, and just the utter lack of common sense, a failure to exercise any type of basic discernment in that situation. There's got to be an arrogance or an entitlement thinking, well, I mean, I'm joking around with my brother, the governor of New York, but we're the Cuomos. We can do this. People love us. I have no doubt that if the situation were someone else, particularly someone on a certain maligned network, right, Fox News, Andrew Cuomo would have no problem going, here is this man pretending to be objective, when in reality he is in bed with whatever.
Well, and forgetting the ideology of it, he was passing along information from sources to his brother's people.
Yes.
That's not okay.
Not okay.
And you shouldn't come back from that in this business.
The other network you're talking about probably wouldn't have let him go for it. But at least CNN did. I guess you can give them that.
I don't need to give anybody anything.
I don't know. They all want eyeballs.
Well, look at all the text messages to the president during the January 6th moment. Those people are still employed by that network.
Right. Well, I think different, but...
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
The following is a commercial announcement.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Men, if you suffer from erectile dysfunction or PE, you can call other clinics and hope for the best. Or you can experience the Paramount Men's Medical Center difference. Their licensed physicians offer treatments that have a 98% success rate, regardless of age or medical history. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Schwartz. If you're not the man you used to be in the bedroom, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers custom blended medications with personalized care. Even men who have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And it's affordable.
Men, if Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, schedule a private consultation to experience the Paramount Men's Medical Center difference. See results on your first visit guaranteed, or your consultation is free. Call 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Travis Fitzwater is the right hire for state senate.
Running for office is a job interview. I'm Travis Fitzwater, and here's my resume. I'm a lifelong conservative, dad to 3 beautiful little girls, a small business guy trying to make ends meet, a conservative Republican who cut our taxes, ended abortion in Missouri, defended our Second Amendment rights, and have protected our farmers from liberal activists.
Travis Fitzwater is a pro-jobs Republican who knows how local families are struggling to pay for gas and groceries. And Travis Fitzwater is the one we can count on to continue to fight Biden's inflation, to get our economy back on track. The only candidate in this race endorsed by Missouri police officers, Missouri pro-life, and A-rated by the NRA. Travis Fitzwater is the right hire for state senate.
Hire me on August 2nd, and I'll keep getting the job done.
Paid for by Friends for Travis Fitzwater.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, it's partly cloudy and 87 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. President Biden is speaking right now on a deal struck with Senator Joe Manchin, saying Democrats have an opportunity to achieve 2 hugely important priorities on health care and climate change after the deal.
It truly is about fighting inflation, bringing down the cost for families, and putting our country on a sounder economic footing. Here's how it works. First, the bill finally delivers on a promise that Washington has made for decades to the American people. We're giving Medicare the power to negotiate for lower prescription drug prices.
That is President Biden live from the White House talking about this deal. The Senate is expected to vote on the wide-ranging measure next week. Republicans are staunchly opposed. The economy shrank for a second straight quarter, and a debate is raging in Washington about just what that means.
Consecutive quarters of GDP drops are an informal indicator of a recession, though not a definitive one, and not the one the White House uses.
Because that's not the definition.
Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre points to the most widely accepted definition coming from the National Bureau of Economic Research. Republicans are accusing the Biden administration of making up definitions.
It's almost beyond satire.
Senate GOP Chief Mitch McConnell says the American people feel the recession, but Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says there isn't one, pointing to a strong jobs market among other indicators.
It doesn't make sense that the economy would be in recession with this kind of thing happening.
Sagar Magani, Washington.
A fire and flooding at the main downtown St. Louis post office on Tuesday raised concerns about ballots in the upcoming August 2nd primary. St. Louis County Republican Elections Director Rick Stream says they are staying on top of the situation.
We have hourly updates from the post office. We have a good relationship with them at all times, and especially now. And they have assured us that all ballots will be delivered on time to us.
Stream says ballots need to be in hand at the election office by 7 p.m. on election night. The downtown post office handles a large amount of bulk mail for the region. CBS News correspondent Jim Krasula has a COVID-19 update.
Millions worldwide may have long-term smell or taste problems with COVID-19, with women more likely to be affected. That's according to a study published in the peer-reviewed Journal of the British Medical Association. Researchers found that 5% of adults infected with COVID may develop long-lasting changes to their sense of smell or taste.
The First Mid Bank and Trust Business Desk, a new class of cool cocktail.
The deal happened.
Get ready to see more of Katy Perry's non-alcoholic Dissois drinks. The sparkling mocktail maker is getting $4 million in seed funding, led by the agency that represents the singer, Creative Artists. The market for adult non-alcoholic drinks has exploded over the past few years. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
The nation's 5th largest airline may have just formed through a merger.
The deal happened even with Spirit management recommending to its shareholders that they turn down the JetBlue offer and pick Frontier instead. In the end, the shareholders went for the bigger deal. But the merger between JetBlue and Spirit is not a done deal yet. It must first pass antitrust scrutiny from the U.S. Justice Department, which has already objected to an earlier alliance between JetBlue and American. Peter Greenberg, travel editor, CBS News.
The Dow from Steeples up 224 points to 32,421. Debris on 6440 west before 44, right lane closed. Stall 270 north before Doherty Ferry on the right shoulder. 364 west, debris past Bennington Place in the center lanes.
We will continue to watch for a couple thunderstorms through this afternoon and evening. Some of those storms can be drenching and could lead to more flash flooding concerns, especially south of the city. High of 88. Lingering thunderstorm tonight, low of 70. For AccuWeather, meteorologist Matt Benz on the Voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
Right now it's partly cloudy and 87 in Florissant, 88 in St. Peter's, and 87 degrees downtown at the Arch. It feels like 94. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
12:05 on the show. Chris Rocci, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Coming up at 1 o'clock, we're going to talk about something really cool that's happening in town. We found out about this last night, but we're going to check in and talk to Matt Martin, who is one of the owners of Sugar Fire. They're doing something really cool for a bunch of their employees who are really badly impacted by the flooding and the storms. We'll let you know about that and how you can be a part of that coming up in about an hour. If you want to join us via text or voicemail, it's easy, 314-436-7900. And, of course, you can go 314-944-1120 to drop a voicemail. We've hit on a number of topics in the first part of the show, some of them pretty significant ones. We talked some baseball. We'll get to that at 12:30. Ding, somebody's got email. and a couple of
it's got to be Amy.
Yeah, a couple of things that we got into. One that we got into a good bit of reaction from you guys was that idea of a third party. And I think everybody likes the idea of a third political party. They like or I shouldn't say everybody, but I would say a large percentage of people would like the idea. Where we run into the doubt is whether or not what is going on.
What is happening?
I can't even get a thought
I have
out.
no idea.
Why are we digging? Who's doing the digging? Ranji, is that you?
I don't know.
Ranji, you got the Rona and you're at home. Is that you? Or is that here? I don't know. But
It's got to be here.
It's got to be here. Man,
It's got to be.
I don't know, but I just muted my laptop just to be sure, and when I did that, I couldn't hear any of you.
Yeah, that's.
I think we got hacked. That was those were all the hackers. Going through the door.
All right. Anyway, we got pretty good reaction on both the text line and a little bit on the voicemail line on this idea. So of the third party, and we've all said for people that weren't listening about a half an hour ago when we were getting to this, we all seem to agree this probably isn't going to work. It's probably not going to work. It hasn't before. You know, this group does have some money behind it, but I mean, what's behind the Democratic Party and the Republican Party is tens or hundreds of billions of dollars and 100 plus years of having a total stranglehold on the political system, and breaking through that is difficult. I do think there's an appetite for something else, but A, it's got to be more defined, and B, I just don't see how it does anything but maybe cause a minor disruption.
Yeah, I mean, we might even be lucky if it causes a minor disruption at this point.
I mean, like people would argue that even the small impact that someone like Jill Stein had made some impact, even though it wasn't, putting herself in there as a contender. It could draw a few people here and there. And one of the questions about this, it seems like both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are worried about this siphoning votes away from them.
We don't know who's going to get Ross Perot. That's what this is. We don't know who's going to get Ross Perot.
I know, get my flow chart.
At first, all I remember the charts that guy had. Just so many charts. He's always pointing to charts. But I think my initial reaction was that it would split the Republican vote. But maybe with the name recognition of Andrew Yang, he ran as a Democrat. I know he moved to an independent. He was on record saying he liked the universal basic income. I think just knowing that those were some of his principles before might be off-putting to more conservative Republican voters. I don't know. Maybe it hurts the Democratic Party more. Maybe it's nominal, or it's small. It's minimal.
It's got to be, and I could be wrong on this. I don't think I am. I think it's just more likely that party, as it goes forward, I think it's more likely they siphon votes away from the Democratic Party than the Republican Party. I do believe that people who vote Republican now are pretty much going to keep doing that. And I don't think a third party is going to, pull them away from it. I'd be really surprised. But in order for Forward to actually be effective, they have got to take votes from both sides. Otherwise, all they're going to do is disrupt things in not a helpful way.
So my question would be, because our political environment has devolved so much into the quote unquote culture wars, is there a place for a third party that doesn't have a strong stance on abortion? Will it have to take a strong stance on abortion or on gun rights? I mean, these are pretty divisive issues. I don't think there are a ton of single issue voters. I know Hancock and Kelly have talked about this and would have even more insight, but there are some single issue voters. And I wonder how the Forward Party deals with that. It's the culture wars. I mean, that's what
you're right.
All the political ads are about, culture wars.
Yeah, your way of life is under attack, right? I mean, that's what we're hearing all over the place. And then, so it's clearly, and I want to play a voicemail here in a second on this topic, but clearly the actual platform will matter, right? Because if what you put out there is a watered down version of one or the other, or it's just something kind of meh, it doesn't get people excited. You have to get people excited with something. And I will say the one thing that they put on the website so far that really interests me is the independent redistricting committees, where we are no longer doing the gerrymandering thing. And again, that's not like they could just come in and implement it. It's just something they want to work toward and try to pass laws on moving forward. But again, how are you going to do that when none of the opposing party people, none of the Democrats or Republicans want that? Because the way it is because that's how they made it.
And I get it. I just think when it comes to the polls, no one votes on gerrymandering. You know what I mean? On the issue of gerrymandering.
No, you're right.
No one's going to, just in the same way that nobody votes on foreign policy. And yes, they'll be voting for their wallets. What's going to affect me financially? What I would find interesting, and maybe the Forward Party has a way to handle this. Let's say you have a very progressive Forward Party candidate for president. We all know in reality, the president has very little sway and very little power when it comes to, I'm going to just go back to abortion rights, right? It's not in the president's hands. It was in the Supreme Court. Now it's back to the states. However, if you had a president who was pretty darn progressive, but still fits in the Forward Party, but he was pro-life. Do you know what I mean? Where he would align with the Democratic Party in a lot of areas, but was pro-life. Would that fly? I feel like
pretty good chance. No.
Is there anybody out there like that?
I don't know that there are any pro-life Democrats anymore. There were in the 90s. I don't know that there are anymore. And I think there are two pro-choice Republicans, I think.
Yeah, probably not
I'm talking about in Congress. Sorry,
probably not
in
an easy
Congress,
thing to be in on. All right, so a couple of things I want to get into a voicemail. We got a text just a second ago that I think makes a good point. 618 said, the only way a third or fourth party works is if the money is taken out of the parties. And he said, guys, I didn't even make it through typing that sentence without laughing. I mean, it's dead on.
The amount of money and dark money that's allowed in politics is one of the main reasons the whole environment is so lousy right now.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to bring up along with this with Hancock and Kelly tomorrow in the first hour of this show. We got a voicemail on this topic of a third party and whether or not it's something that's appealing to people in general. And that's 314-944-1120 if you'd like to leave one of your own.
I like the idea of a third party. I've been voting Libertarian for the last 20 years. Seems like it's a waste of a vote, but I continue to do it and will continue. Thank you.
So again, I think that's an interesting thing. Like there, like we said, there are candidates, there are other parties, they exist, but they don't exist at the level of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and they really don't have any mathematical chance of winning these big offices that they're running for. You could probably win some smaller offices, and Ron, you made the point of kind of starting small and working your way up. But I do think that there's an appetite, whether you're somebody that has a libertarian streak or maybe somebody can identify with the Green Party to a degree. You're making that decision. A lot of people are. Does casting this vote even mean anything?
Well, that's a great question. I think a lot of people use those votes as protest votes
Mhm.
You know, they just say, this is the party I'm voting for because I want my voice heard. It may not actually make a difference, but I'm doing it anyway. And now that voicemail brings up the Libertarian Party, maybe that's what the Forward Party actually ends up being
Right.
if they're lucky, because the Libertarian Party does take votes away from the Republican Party most frequently. Sometimes they'll take from the Democratic Party, but usually it's the other side. So maybe the Forward Party comes in and does the same thing for Democrats, which is not a good thing necessarily. I would love for it to be a real thing. I would love for a third party to be an actual real force in politics. I can't see it happening. I'd be very, very happy if it did, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I always joke the Libertarian Party is conservatives without morals. It's a joke, ladies and gentlemen. It's a joke.
Amy, the queen of dad jokes. That one's not really a dad joke, though.
There's a big spectrum of libertarians.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, libertarianism is probably great if you live in the mountains by yourself. It's great.
Jeez.
Serious? No, I'm serious, because you want like no laws whatsoever. Let's just have a free for all. Like, okay, but you live around other people. You can't just do that.
Oh man.
I don't know what you guys are like freaking out about.
I'm not freaking out. It's just
I have friends who
just
are
a broad
libertarians.
overgeneralization.
I have friends who are libertarians, and that's like every law is bad.
Yes,
like, well,
that's
what's
the
matter
spectrum.
with you?
I think like Reason Magazine, there are libertarians at Reason Magazine who flirt with anarchism.
Sure.
And then there are those who flirt with just plain old conservatism,
Exactly.
those fusionists.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why that was the chuckle. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's that it's certainly not everyone that ascribes to that.
Well, they can live in the mountains then. It's the perfect place
All right,
for
so
them.
tying into this, though, we've been asking this for a couple weeks. We haven't gotten to it, but we put it on our list, and it's on today. You can chime in at 314-436-7900 or on the voicemail, 314-944-1120. Have you ever evolved on an important political stance, something that means something to you? Have you ever changed on that after looking into it, thinking about it, hearing about more? Have you ever done it? We'll get into it next.
Baseball's trade deadline is August 2nd. What direction will John Mozeliak and the Cardinals front office go to help the Redbirds for the stretch run? For the latest Cardinals news and information, it's News Radio KMOX and KMOX.com.
Paul, I voted myself a pay raise wheeling. That's one high-flying, lobbyist-loving, vote-missing, swanky trip-taking state senator. And he just wants to drink more of that swamp water. Woo!
An investigation found that Paul Whelan took more lobbyist gifts than all other Missouri lawmakers. He accepted over $23,000 in lobbyist gifts. Whelan even had special interest groups pay for his expensive trips to places like San Diego and Las Vegas. Maybe that's why Paul Whelan couldn't show up and do his job. He missed 141 votes in the state Senate. One vote he didn't miss. Whelan was one of just 2 lawmakers who voted to increase his taxpayer-funded salary. Now, he wants to keep ripping off taxpayers as Jefferson County executive. On August 2nd, stop the taxpayer abuse. Send Paul Whelan packing for a different kind of trip. Home. Vote no on Whelan for county executive. Paid for by Let's Go Brandon Pack. Chris Vass, treasurer.
I'm Listening reminds you that talk saves lives, and 988 makes it even easier to reach out and talk. 911 for emergency services, 988 for mental health needs. 988 connects you with trained counselors in over 200 crisis centers nationwide. Find out more at imlistening.org.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep. We have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Can you believe someone who wants our vote has publicly supported a candidate accused multiple times of child abuse, domestic violence, and sexual assault?
Child abuse? Domestic violence? Sexual assault?
Yep, that's who Ben Brown supported.
Well, that's awful.
It gets worse. Ben Brown said he'd join a small group in the Senate who have blocked conservative reforms just to protect their rich donors and pork barrel projects. Brown has already taken thousands of dollars from them.
That's terrible.
There's more. Ben Brown has repeatedly failed to pay his taxes on time and has paid as much as a year late.
Well, surely that's it.
Sadly, no. Bad Ben Brown has had multiple criminal offenses. He's been in fights, court disputes, and charged with other violations.
Ben Brown is clearly the wrong choice for state senator.
That's why I call him Bad Ben Brown.
Paid for by the Right Direction PAC.
The good and bad with home improvement projects. The good, you save a buck or two. The bad,
Kevin, there's no hot water.
so you move on to the car.
Kevin, what's with the car?
Good news, you can recover from these.
Kevin!
Well, most all of them. But when it comes to your retirement, a mistake can be devastating. Call Steve All and the All Financial Group. They've been helping folks plan for retirement for years. That's why they've been able to correct do-it-yourself problems before they're problems. Get your complimentary assessment of where you are now and look at some of the retirement boxes you haven't even thought of.
Kevin!
You can't YouTube your retirement. Call Steve today, 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Get more details at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory services offered through All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products offered through Stephen All, Missouri license 8039738.
All the news and all that matters to you. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
$12:20 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. So if you want to chime in on the text line, you can, 314-436-7900. We went on this topic of a third party and people's ideologies, maybe not changing so much, but maybe the party that they've been a part of has an element that you're tired of that keeps on pushing things a little too far, and you wish there was an alternative. In tandem with that, and this is a topic we actually, I think the three of us kicked around maybe 2 weeks ago, but just now kind of figured this is a good spot to throw it in there. Is there something of significance, a belief, a political belief that you've evolved on, changed on, maybe not necessarily flipped completely on, but moved from one place to another on here in, say, your last 5 to 10 years, somewhere in your adult life? Is there anything, or is it like, no, you know what?
I had to think
good.
really hard about this. And just FYI, it's also, you can comment or vote on Twitter at the show KMOX, at the show KMOX, if you want to vote there. I had to think about this one a lot. I think perhaps maybe I've evolved on what gun laws should look like. And I'm not sure if I evolved or I just learned more about what could be done. Does that make sense? Where sometimes gun laws would be proposed and perhaps I was fearful that they would be a little bit too intrusive. But as I've learned more, talked to more people, I've seen the changing environment and see how basic red flag laws, background checks, having concealed carry licenses, at least, that it needs to be registered, that those are not the slippery slopes that perhaps they had been initially I thought maybe they might be. And so I think I've evolved, but I can't quite tell if I've evolved or I'm just more educated, in the sense that I think we need more gun laws, more background checks, more red flag laws, and those would still not infringe on your Second Amendment rights.
That's a really good point, because I do believe that the opposition to a lot of laws, and not just gun laws, is, well, if we do this, what's next? And that's not always true. It's not always true that if you do one thing, it's the definition of slippery slope. Just because one thing is going to happen doesn't necessarily mean that this, and this is going to follow. And the opposition has been saying for years, well, if they take this gun, they're going to come to your house and take all of your guns, which nobody Nobody serious has ever proposed that ever. So maybe it is just more information you've gotten and realize that some gun laws do work. The assault weapons ban did work. It works in other countries. It worked here for a time being until it was repealed. And I think that maybe just seeing you see the evidence, you get the data, and you realize, okay, maybe we can do these things. So it's probably just it's a matter of information. I don't think it's really anything else.
And
you're an open-minded person, and that's why I think, on a lot of things, you're an open-minded person. And so that's why I think you've reached that conclusion.
Yeah, and understanding the nuance, but also here's what I think is perhaps so toxic about our political environment, how it is just demonizing the other side. I think having nuanced conversation and having conversation with meaningful distinctions when you're talking about gun laws and background checks and red flag laws, and how can we still make sure the law-abiding citizen is not having his or her Second Amendment rights infringed upon. It's having those serious discussions. And I think our current environment shuts down serious discussions because you're almost considered, or you are labeled, weak or soft if you are open-minded to have a conversation with someone. So if we shut down those conversations, the information isn't getting out there. People aren't learning more about, hey, you can be pro-Second Amendment and also be pro-red flag laws.
Raj, anything for you?
Actually, yes. And it's something I don't know if we've ever talked about on the air, but I know we've had multiple conversations off the air. I have come around on the death penalty because I used to, a long time ago, have that feeling of when somebody commits a terrible crime, they should be punished in the harshest possible way. So we should just kill them, like do away with them. Let's not keep them in prison forever. Let them go straight to hell, and we'll take care of the in the middle process. But
the ticket.
Yeah, I really think now that for me, if we put to death one innocent person out of 1,000, say, and it's only one we get wrong, that's one too many. Because I think about, Amy and I both have the irrational fear of going to jail for something we didn't do.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're on death row for something you did not do, and you know in your heart you did not do it. And you have the case of like Liddell Lee, who years ago was put to death in Arkansas, and they rushed to get the execution, even though there was evidence that suggested he was not the person who committed the crime. Imagine being that person, and you're laying on the table, and they're about to put you away, and you have done nothing wrong. Like, I would rather put 999 people in prison who are guilty of murder for the rest of their lives than have one person slip through the cracks and be innocently convicted and put to death, because you can't reverse that. You can't do anything about that. Once you've done it, once you've killed that person, it's over.
Makes sense. Mine is a lot less dramatic than that. If you had asked me, I don't remember. It's been kind of a gradual thing. There was no aha, eureka moment. Oh boy, I heard this argument and it changed my mind.
Sure. I don't think it's,
yeah. It's just over time. If you had asked me 20 years ago what I thought about legalizing pot, what I thought about the drug industry in general, and I don't mean, heroin, cocaine, those things, but like the balance between, say, prescription drugs and marijuana use, I would have said, listen, one's legal for a reason, one's illegal not for a reason, and there's no need to change all of that. And over time, it was very gradual. It was just, you learn a little bit more about the dangers of things that are legal, and then you compare that to something that was illegal for very different reasons. I've gone the complete opposite direction now. I think we need to be more careful with some of the things that are legal and be okay with something that has been illegal forever, but we know is not nearly as problematic as some of those things that we get prescribed. All right, Redbird Report. Our buddy Matt Pauley is going to join us when we come back on KMOX.
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great, because Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis loves buying fix-up homes in any condition, as is, no fees and no commissions. Call 314-782-8000, and Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis will give you a cash offer right now. no strings attached. We buy inherited houses, divorce houses, trashed houses, even those my tenant won't pay rent houses. Call Chris at 314-782-8000 and find out how easy it is to work with us. That's 314-782-8000. Do you think your home will be difficult to sell? Easy. Our team will provide you with personal guidance through our short and simple process to turn your house into a pile of gold. Just call Chris at 314-782-8000. 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And let Chris worry about everything.
We thought it was over.
Missouri Republican Governor Eric Greitens has just resigned this afternoon.
Scandal after scandal.
Already facing a felony charge, now accused of a second felony.
Now there's more about Eric Greitens.
Former Missouri governor is now accused of spousal abuse and intimidation.
In a sworn affidavit, Eric Greitens' former wife said,
I became afraid for my safety and that of our children due to Eric's unstable and coercive behavior. Physical violence toward our children, cuffing our then 3-year-old son across the face, yanking him around by his hair, a swollen face, bleeding gums, and a loose tooth. He said Dad had hit him. I wanted to protect our children because I was afraid of what Eric would do.
Scandals, felony charges, now physical abuse allegations. That's not conservative, but it's the real Eric Greitens. Paid for by Show Me Values PAC, showmevalues.org, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Show Me Values PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
At 12:30, we've got clouds and 87 degrees downtown at the Arch. President Joe Biden this hour declared the inflation-fighting deal Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer struck with holdout Senator Joe Manchin a godsend for American families. Biden's remarks today at the White House urged Congress to pass the $739 billion package. The economy is shrinking and has been throughout the first half of the year, fueling fears of a recession. More interest rate hikes are likely on the way, and that's just after another hike from the Fed. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
I don't think we're looking at a 2008. I do think that economic growth is slowing down. The data support that. So in the first 3 months of the year, the economy was shrinking at an annualized pace of 1.6%. Second 3 months of the year, we saw in the second quarter, we're shrinking at a 0.9% annualized pace. Now, that's not a cratering of growth, but it is a sign that things are slowing down.
The World Naked Bike Ride returns to St. Louis this Saturday, and thousands of people are expected to participate. When it comes to best cities for naked bike riding, St. Louis ranks 5th. According to LawnStarter.com, Chicago is tops for biking without your bottoms, followed by Portland, Seattle, and Austin. St. Louis's highest ranking is for friendliness, coming in at number 2, but loses points for safety, coming in at 63rd. The World Naked Bike Ride kicks off Saturday at 4 p.m. in the Grove. Some debris on 270 north before Dorset. The right lane's closed. 44 west past 100 Washington, right shoulder. Debris on 6440 west before 44. The right lane closed. A stall 270 north before Doherty Ferry on the right shoulder. This afternoon, cloudy and humid with a couple of thunderstorms through this evening. Some could be drenching, especially south of the city, and could lead to more flash flooding with a high today of 88 degrees. And then partly to mostly cloudy with a lingering shower thunderstorm tonight, a low 70. For tomorrow, pleasant, less humid with intervals of clouds and sunshine, a break from the recent heavy rain with a high of 83 degrees. Right now it is cloudy, 87. It feels like 95 downtown at the Arch. All the news you need for your day is on the free Odyssey app. Download it now. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Lori Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman at ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy houses direct. If you're thinking about selling, but you're not sure where you're going to go after you sign a contract with a buyer, if you sell to us, we can provide a flexible closing date for you. And once we've written a contract, we can actually adjust the closing date if you need to move it up or you need to move it back at any time. Find us at ClaymanGroup.com. And simplify your sale by closing on your timeline. KLAMEN Group.com.
Plain talk from our true constitutional conservative voice, Mary Elizabeth Coleman.
We have to stop the crazy liberal agenda of defunding the police. We need more support for law enforcement.
Give them the tools to stop violent crime, illegal immigration, and the cartels from flooding our state with their illegal drugs.
Mary Elizabeth Coleman opposes all taxpayer funding for illegal immigrants and will fight to cut state funding to cities that give sanctuary to illegal immigrants.
Biden's open border policy has brought fentanyl to our neighborhoods. Thousands of Missourians are dying as a result. Missouri should join the other states and send our National Guard troops to the border, if that's what it takes to keep our families safe.
True constitutional conservative Mary Elizabeth Coleman supports a Parents' Bill of Rights, is pro-jobs, A-rated by the NRA, and the only one in this state Senate race endorsed by Missouri Right to Life. Paid for by friends of Mary Elizabeth Coleman.
KMOX is Cardinals Radio.
It's the Cards and Nationals Friday night. Ameren pregame show 510. First pitch 6:05. Hear it on KMOX and streaming on KMOX.com.
The pitch by Ueno. Albert is hit high and deep. A home run for Harrison Bader. Yadier Molina has homered. Double play. It's a big fly for Albert Pujols. A home run in the first inning for Goldie.
This is the Redbirds Report.
At 12:35 on the show, time for our Redbird Report, and in what will now be his new weekly spot, the sports guy here at KMOX, host of Sports Open Line, Cardinals pre and post Monday through Friday. Just back in town, just getting his feet wet and getting settled. Now that he's settled, he's got to join us twice a week. Matt Pauley is with us. Hello, Matt.
Hey, I don't know how settled I actually am at this point, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, you at least know where everything is now. Yeah. And I mean in the building. I don't mean anywhere else. You grew up here, so you know all that.
There are times in the building where I make a turn expecting there to be like a hallway and there's a wall, and I'm just standing there looking at a wall going, does anybody see me right now? How dumb do I look at this moment?
Amy does that still.
First of all, I run into the wall. I don't stand there and look at. If I'm walking and there's something in front of me that I don't see, I'm running into it. I'm definitely not stopping before.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we'll solve that problem another time. So, Matt, we spent a little time earlier talking about the win last night for the Cardinals and how cool it was that the old guys saved the day. Right, they're on the road. The two biggest stars are not there. The day before was a bit of a middle innings disaster with a couple of relievers blowing up. But Albert Pujols and Adam Wainwright, I don't know, played the role of superhero, man. They saved the day yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting in the postgame what Oliver Marmol had to say, because basically he said this is the point of the year where it really matters, and the guys who have been around for a while, to paraphrase, can find a new gear and to kind of expect something like that. Now, are we going to see Albert Pujols go out and come up a triple short of the cycle every single night from here on out? Obviously, no. But it was really cool to see. I hope that Cardinal fans can appreciate those nights, because bluntly, we don't know how many more of those really special nights from Pujols we're going to be able to see. And then for Wainwright to have that rough start in Cincinnati, and we know that he goes to Cincinnati a lot and struggles, for him to come back out and really, last night was one of those nights they just had to win. There was so much negativity between Goldschmidt and Arenado, the injury with Matt, the injury with Bader on his rehab assignment, the way the game went the day before. Yesterday was such an important win, and there you had Adam Wainwright really leading the way.
Oh, it just would have been nice to have Yadier Molina available too, because he probably would have, I don't know, gone deep a time or two, just based on the way things went last night.
Yeah, just the old guys doing their thing. But he's, the rehab assignment starts tonight for him, so he'll be back sooner than you know.
Yeah, they were talking about that for next week, going back a couple of weeks. So it sounds like they're on track to have him back for the final 2 months of the season, which would give him and Wainwright just enough time to potentially break that record and end up as the battery that has had the most career starts together. So there's that is still a possibility. It's still out there. And maybe more importantly, Matt, as we look at solidifying this or stabilizing for the final couple of months, a lot of the young guys have struggled here in July, which is not a shock. I mean, they're going through a lot of these things for the first time at the major league level. Teams are finally getting a book on them and maybe know how to attack them a little bit more. And they're going to need to bounce back. But this is the time where you're, as you point out with what Ollie said, you're going to need the guys that have been through this before to really kind of set the tone.
You are, absolutely. I do think, and it does start with Arenado and Goldschmidt. Obviously, a lot of focus that they weren't available the last 2 days, but now they're going to be available the rest of the way. And when it comes to run scoring, it's all going to start with those guys. I do think the day that Nolan Gorman had yesterday is notable because he was 0 for 13, got to the ballpark early yesterday, went through a big hitting session. They dropped him in the order a little bit, and then he has, the 2 hits. He has the home run. Playing at the major league level is such a tough thing because the adjustments don't come on just a week-to-week basis or even a game-to-game basis. They come on an at-bat to an at-bat basis. The way video is used from one at-bat to the next. So when you're a young guy coming up, there's going to be pitchers doing things to you and tweaking you in ways that's never happened before. So what we're seeing from Gorman lately is a totally normal thing. The question is, how does he respond? How does he react to the reaction?
We know the trade deadline is coming up, and there's been a lot of talk about a lot of different players, and we'll get to one of them in a little bit here. But there's an effect here, like a ripple effect, that could end up leading Paul DeJong back on the roster, back in the lineup. How quickly do you think that happens, and is it a thing they should do?
Yeah, it could, especially if Nolan Gorman ends up being part of a trade. And we've heard, just the scuttlebutt and the Major League Baseball insiders that are saying, the Cardinals offered this for this and this for this. We're seeing Gorman's name occasionally. So if he ends up back with the team, I think obviously you've seen what he's done lately. He's seemingly turned it around. You never really know, right? So, we can sit here and say, oh, he's going to be fine. You can feel confident because what you're going to acquire is going to help you more now than Gorman's helping you. So, I don't know. It's a tough question to answer because you really don't know what it's going to look like at the big league level after some of those struggles earlier.
Yeah, and looking ahead to the deadline next week, clearly the Cardinals are mentioned everywhere, right? The Juan Soto stuff is coming from everywhere. We're talking about John Heyman, Ken Rosenthal, Jeff Pass, and Joel Sherman. A lot of really, really well-connected national reporters connecting them with that. But there's also the strong belief, and I saw this from a couple of people yesterday as well, including Jeff Passan, that they're also heavy in the pitching market. And that seems to me the more likely target than say, Juan Soto. But also maybe, I know it's weird to say because Soto's amazing, maybe the more necessary target with the guys that are out and the uncertainty after Wainwright and Michaelis.
Yeah, I think so. So the reaction to what you just said from a lot of people is, well, why a starting pitcher only goes once every 5 days? How in the world can you say that a starting pitcher is going to be more important than somebody who plays every day in the lineup? And my response to that would be, do you really feel comfortable? Do you really feel confident that this team right now with the starting pitching can go out and win a postseason series? And that's what it's all about. It's not about how many games you can win the rest of the way in the regular season. Obviously, you want to win enough that hopefully you win the division. For sure, you make it into the playoffs. But the bottom line is you're building a team for postseason success. And as great as it would be to have Juan Soto in the middle of the lineup and as the offensive impact that you would think that he would have, for me, I have a really hard time seeing this team being able to win series in the playoffs with the way starting pitching is put together right now. So I would argue that starting pitching is more important, even though you're bringing in somebody who plays once every fifth day and not every day.
Would you like to go on the record with a Juan Soto guess or prediction? We went on the record yesterday with whether or not the Cardinals would get Juan Soto.
Mine's not looking good, by the way.
I don't think so. I'm not saying it's a 0% chance. If it happens, I'm not going to be, just drop dead surprised by it. But I do not expect it to happen.
All right, so we have two.
I knew I like this guy because he and I see it exactly the same way.
That. So we have
You're
two
smart,
no's,
God,
and two
Kevin.
yeses.
Yeah, these two both said yes. I said no, even though I want it to happen and it would be amazing. And you can't rule it out because, I didn't think they were going to pull the trigger on Arenado as an example, but I also didn't think the Rockies were going to give them $50 million. And that's not happening with Juan Soto. You're not getting any of those extra benefits. You're going to pay top dollar premium value if you're going to make that deal.
And let me throw this out there, too. As of today, Buster Olney says some rival executives perceive the Padres to now be the front runner.
I felt like I said that, too.
Yeah, you probably did, Kevin.
Yeah, we said the Padres and Cardinals were top two.
Yeah.
Well, I said one was number one, Matt. What do you think? Am I right?
Probably. Kevin, you and I had a conversation in the halls yesterday, and They've got so much that they can give away. We did. We colluded. There was collusion in the KMOX office yesterday. You guys were not around, and we had this whole thing set up.
It's kind of like the Chris and Andrew Cuomo thing, you know?
It is.
A
You
little
guys are.
backroom deal going on back there.
Yeah, I just want to
Hopefully
say.
no one's losing their job here.
Nope, we're good.
No, Matt, but I mean, it's a
It
little.
all just started, so I hope not.
It's just a little disappointing. I mean, obviously, Ranji and I love the Cardinals and St. Louis and America more than you and Wheeler do.
That's 100% true.
So, I mean, it's cool, Matt. Whatever.
Kevin hated all the Cardinals All-Stars. You should have heard it.
Oh my gosh, I know.
How did
Ranji,
America get brought in on this?
it's
It gets in everything, Matt. It's everything. That's what I'm finding out.
What's
doing
more important than
non-sports. It's
America?
everything.
yeah. I mean, it's American for Juan Soto to join the Cardinals, and then the Cardinals, do great. Anyway, that's my thought.
Well done, Amy. Way to take it off track. Good job. Good job. Anyway, Matt, Cardinals do have the day off today and start the series against the Washington Nationals tomorrow. We've touched on this before, but this post All-Star portion of the schedule is a little lighter, a few more days off here and there. And going to Washington for the opener of that series tomorrow, you'll have Miles Mikolas on the mound. Washington's really bad. I think this is an important weekend to go out there and win a series, if not sweep it.
Yeah, it is. I actually don't like the schedule, though. On 3-city trips are tough, but I feel like you've almost wasted an off day by having 2 off days on this trip. If you're going to go on a 3-city trip, I feel like having 1 off day in there is good, but off days are so valuable, and they lose their impact a little bit when they're on the road. So I can't remember seeing a 3-city trip with 2 off days in the middle of it. That's a really weird quirk to the schedule. But all that being said, yeah, I mean, the Nationals are not a good baseball team. You can't lose many series to bad baseball teams. We just saw them do that with Cincinnati. From here to the end of the season, if you're losing series against bad teams, that probably means you're not winning the division.
Matt, anything you want to tease for Sports Open Line tonight?
Yeah, we got a lot coming on. You put me on the spot here. Let's see. You got John Denton from
we're just initiating you.
Coming on. I know. I'm sitting on a stoop outside of a Costco right now, and people are just walking by, watching me. Like, what's going on? Why is this guy talking really loud?
Yeah.
So, yeah, John Denton's going to be on. We've got XFL writer on to talk a little bit about the St. Louis XFL team. We are still efforting a couple things. Matt Pajeski working real hard on that. So 6 to 8 o'clock tonight on KMOX.
All right. Well, Matt, thank you so much, buddy. Good to talk to you. We'll catch up with you again here on the show on Monday.
Awesome. Sounds good, guys.
You got it. That's Matt Pauley, sports guy here on KMOX. I know that's it's kind of a bland title, but he's the host of Sports Open Line. He is the Cardinals.
It's a classic title.
It is.
His
I mean, I
business
like
card,
that title.
It literally says Matt Pauley, sports guy.
Sports dude.
That's his business card.
Yep. So tonight you'll catch him on Sports Open Line 6 to 8. Of course, does Cardinals Monday through Friday pre and post game here on KMOX. And you can find him on Twitter, by the way, at Matt Pauley on air. Just spell Pauley, Auley. You'll get the right guy. He is fantastic. He's a hell of a lot of fun. He'll be joining us every Monday and Thursday here on the show.
Travis Fitzwater is the right hire for state senate.
Running for office is a job interview. I'm Travis Fitzwater, and here's my resume. I'm a lifelong conservative, dad to 3 beautiful little girls, a small business guy trying to make ends meet, a conservative Republican who cut our taxes, ended abortion in Missouri, defended our Second Amendment rights, and have protected our farmers from liberal activists.
Travis Fitzwater is a pro-jobs Republican who knows how local families are struggling to pay for gas and groceries. And Travis Fitzwater is the one we can count on to continue to fight Biden's inflation, to get our economy back on track. The only candidate in this race endorsed by Missouri police officers, Missouri pro-life, and A-rated by the NRA. Travis Fitzwater is the right hire for state senate.
Hire me on August 2nd, and I'll keep getting the job done.
Paid for by Friends for Travis Fitzwater.
I'll ring you up in a second. Kim, can you see if we have more acid wash?
Desmona's thrift store is the spot for killer vintage finds.
Oh, that looks fabulous on you. Hey, can you do the register?
But her sales clerk situation feels pretty threadbare.
Oh, yeah, let me clear out that fitting room.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Chances are you're jamming in your car right now.
And since Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance, so you only pay for what you need, Limu and I are going to show you some safe car dance moves. Hit it. Everybody, check your blind spots real quick. Now hands on the wheel. Put them 10 in 2 and move your head like a bird do. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Start your own Amazon business.
Hey everyone, Ryan and Karen Pottinger here.
Because of the wholesale formula, last year we ran our business while we traveled to and lived in 4 different countries.
Hi, I'm Amy Sherlock. I attended the Wholesale Formula seminar, and I'm now doing $175,000 in sales per month.
Start your Amazon business. Join Dylan Frost at the Wholesale Formula 2-hour seminar Tuesday, August 2nd at 1 p.m. for the greater St. Louis area. Register at wholesaleformula.com.
Whether you're looking to fill low spots in your lawn, backfill that new retaining wall, or mulch your trees and flower beds, St. Louis Composting has the compost, soil, or mulch you need to help your plants and garden look its very best. Visit our website, stlcompost.com, for more information.
Have you been waiting for the perfect time to get your Missouri medical marijuana card? Today is the day at 420id.com. Dispensaries are open and inventory is in. 420id.com is a BBB accredited business with over 16,000 happy Missouri patients. If we can't approve you, you pay nothing at 420id.com. Open late every day until 9 p.m. Sign up for your Missouri medical marijuana card now at 420id.com and use promo code RADIO for $30 off today.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. Busey's community focus takes us to Edwardsville in July. I'm joined by Steve Grant, Vice President and Busey Area Manager for Edwardsville, and a Rotarian to talk about the Busey Bank Rotary Criterium Festival, a fun biking event coming this summer. Listen to our July podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
I'm Stephen Lynch at Volvo Cars West County. Our inventory is ramping up, and so are the deals. Visit today for $1,000 bonus cash offer and great markdown on select 2022s. Pick up a plug-in hybrid and get a $7,500 tax credit. Come see why Volvo Cars West County is the #1 Volvo dealer in Missouri. So when you think of Volvo Cars West County on Manchester Road, 4 miles west of 270, or go online for a seamless online purchasing.
In the Republican primary for U.S. Senate, Missourians have one clear conservative choice: Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler. Promoting and protecting Missouri values, she's a leading advocate for our veterans, ensuring that those who have served our nation have access to the best possible care. Vicky Hartzler has fought for our rural hospitals, and she's continuously pushed to have essential medication available for those in need. For our safety and security, Vicky Hartzler has led the effort to bring medicine production back to the United States. Vicky Hartzler, a proven fighter with a record of getting things done. Missouri has the chance to elect a true leader with a servant's heart. On August 2nd, vote for Vicky Hartzler for U.S. Senate. This message paid for by the American Society of Anesthesiologists PAC, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. ASAHQ.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Are you concerned about higher taxes, soaring inflation, and what's next for the stock market? Don't miss Your Retirement Professors this Saturday afternoon at 1 on St. Louis's News Radio, KMOX.
Learn to swim this summer and stay cool with Swim On Foundation through group and private lessons. Schedule today. For information, go to swimonfoundation.org.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Who is this guy?
Kevin Wheeler.
With exaggerated mouth and tongue movements.
On the show.
Oh boy, Raj. As we were coming back from the break, Amy says, and I quote, "It's emu time."
It is.
Oh God.
No, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I am so disappointed in my co-hosts. I don't know if they just had unhappy childhoods. They don't know how to have fun. Anything
Says
that's
the person who's like, I'm uptight.
Well, even I'm not too uptight for the story of the chef and the emu in the Washington Post. just a glorious story by Jennifer Hassan for the Washington Post. And if you're wondering, oh, what is that story? Well, I will retweet it because I think the world needs to hear it.
Yes, just don't reread it.
It was a hit and run, and a chef, quote, wearing his slip-resistant rubber kitchen clogs and chef overalls, chased the driver for 15 to 20 minutes. And what happens is they get to this animal sanctuary, and there, standing before them, is a over 6 foot tall emu. And the man, the chef, says, "Mate, don't go in there." And the criminal goes in there and he yells, "I can fight emus." And he goes in and the emu pecks at him, stabs him all over his body, even though the man unsuccessfully tried to, quote, kung fu kick the emu. It's the most incredible story ever. And my co-host didn't get it because, well, they hate fun and goodness. And I posted it on Twitter.
I think it was the length of the story.
Just pay attention. So I posted it on
also
Twitter.
The Jason Bourne music in the background,
that
which
part
I
was
was
awesome.
distracted
That
by.
was the best part.
I liked that part.
Who came up with that?
And I just want to say
That's
that
pretty well done,
Jennifer Hassan responded to my post.
Friend of the show.
Now friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
My best friend, actually, who wrote the story. Jane Duker has chimed in. Amy, I am team female emu. Tremendous story. And I just want to say, I really feel like I'm generating a lot of support for the story of the chef and the emu.
I feel like Jennifer Hassan also, she must be after you in some way. The reporter from the Washington Post, because she also wrote a story. Yeah, she wrote a story yesterday, or no, was it today or yesterday, about people being ghosted and how there should be, this is in the Philippines, there's a lawmaker who says there should be a law passed against ghosting. And I feel like that really speaks to you, Amy. And it's something we'll probably get into tomorrow a little bit because we don't have time now.
Right.
But we're going to talk about this tomorrow.
Am I
a law against ghosting?
Am I a ghoster?
Yeah. No, you've been ghosted.
Oh, yeah.
Well, were you? Who ghosted you? Oh, you don't have to out
She can't remember. She
you
came in and
don't have to out them on the air, but somebody ghosted you?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm sure I've been ghosted at some point.
No, Kevin, there was no such thing as ghosting. When you were
but
dating.
not in a dating
Kevin's
way. But like I've asked like people that I know, hey, you want to come on the show? And they like just no answer. And I'll text back. I'll take that as a no.
Yeah.
Or you want to go? You want to go to the ball game? No answer. All right, I guess you don't want to go to the ball game.
That's so sad, little Kevin
Let's
going.
be-
Can you come
You want to go to
baseball
the?
game
You
with
want to
me?"
go to the metal concert with me? No answer. All right, I'll take that as a no.
Here, there's a difference between no response and what ghosting is now. So, like, the idea behind it is it's so easy to communicate. You text, right? So let's say you meet somebody new.
Yeah.
You're having a long text conversation that goes on multiple days, and then suddenly the other person just stops.
Yeah.
That is ghosting.
That's ghosting. And so they're trying to make that.
And never comes back, right?
Never comes back, and you're like, what the hell happened to this person? They're just gone now.
So they want to make it illegal in the Philippines.
Yeah, we
Sounds
got to
like
talk about
sounds
this
like
tomorrow.
a lawmaker got ghosted by a lady.
That's exactly what it is. It's like this. I will not stand for this.
This
We're
is
going to pass
illegal.
some laws.
This can't happen to me.
I have power now.
I have power now. I'm going to fix it. Hey, coming up, speaking of fixing things, we got a lot of recovery still going on in town after the rain and the floods from a couple of days ago. We're going to catch up with one of the owners of Sugar Fire. Matt Martin's going to join us after the top of the hour news. They're doing some great stuff for employees and for one of their stores that got damaged. I'll tell you all about that and how you can be a part of it with some good food coming up after the news.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Pineview Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now. 314-530-7777.
The homicide rate in St. Louis was the highest in the country last year.
One leader has taken on St. Louis politicians for failing to do enough to stop lawlessness and violent crime spreading toward us. Our Jefferson County executive, Dennis Gannon. Dennis Gannon opposes the Liberals' dumb and dangerous plan to defund the police. Dennis supports greater funding for law enforcement to keep our neighborhoods and families safe. Since Biden won't build the wall and control the border, Dennis Gannon is working locally to stop illegal immigration here, ban sanctuary cities, and stop tax dollars going to illegal immigrants. Dennis Gannon's Strategic Jobs Initiative is focused on recruiting jobs away from China and bringing them home. And Dennis Gannon's a leader in transforming Jefferson County's Port Authority into a massive trade center to create jobs here. Conservative Dennis Gannon for Jefferson County Executive. Right for our future.
Paid for by Gannon for Jefferson County.
KMOX, KEZK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Beast Plumbing working all over the region, whether it's a small plumbing job in your home or your business, or it's a big job. You're having maybe issues with sewer and drain. They clean those out. They do a lot. It's a great company, and it's growing by leaps and bounds. They are in search of a great customer service representative and an office manager, and it's a great culture there. Charlie and Jess Beast lead that team. They are also looking for great plumbers. Of course, as the company grows, they need more good people, so check out beastplumbing.com. I do want to mention the July special. They are doing $75 off an Evo Pro 1100 XL garbage disposal. This garbage disposal is the 1100 XL Evo Pro. It's auto reversing, full stainless, super quiet, and it's the most effective disposal on the market currently. If you're in need of a new garbage disposal in your kitchen, get a hold of Beast Plumbing right away. You should have them in your contacts already. 314-698-1154 or online at Beast. That's BEIS plumbing.com. Tell them Bo sent you to Beast Plumbing.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 1 o'clock, we've got a cloudy sky, 87 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour.
So as we look at your report, Ray.
That's Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who is speaking as we heard about the GDP and the American economy this morning.
The drumbeat of recession growing louder with consumers and businesses struggling under the weight of inflation. The economy shrinking from April through June, contracting 0.9%. That's 2 consecutive quarters of falling GDP, which meets the definition of a technical recession. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
President Biden hails the agreement that's been reached between 2 key senators that would advance his legislative agenda.
With hundreds of billions of dollars worth of clean energy tax incentives, the president calls the Senate bill the most significant climate change legislation in history.
It's a big deal.
The measure, crafted by West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin and Senate Leader Chuck Schumer, would also extend Obamacare subsidies and allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. It would be paid for by setting a 15% minimum corporate tax and by ramping up enforcement at the IRS. Democrats aim to pass it if necessary without a single Republican vote. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, Washington.
Kentucky's governor says at least 3 people are dead after torrential rains caused severe flooding in central Appalachia. Hundreds have lost their homes. St. Louis County has state emergency management assessors looking at the damage from Tuesday's floods here.
So far, St. Louis County Executive Dr. Sam Page says 261 homes have been damaged, and he expects that number to grow.
We know that if we have 500 homes, that typically triggers federal funds to come in and help homeowners. So that's why it's so important that everyone who's had flood damage to call the United Way at 211. They're the centralized collection organization for folks that have had damage.
Page adds calling 211 also provides referrals for resources like a place to stay, clothing, food, and transportation. Once there's a federal declaration, that opens up the door for federal money. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Tuesday is Election Day.
Ballots have to be in our hands by 7 p.m. on election night. And if a voter has requested a ballot and has it, I would not recommend they put it in the mail today.
St. Louis County Republican Elections Director Rick Stream on Total Information AM. Absentee ballots that have not already been mailed in can be dropped off at one of 7 satellite locations around St. Louis County, including the Board of Elections office at the former Northwest Plaza Mall, the Umsel Student Center, the North County Recreation Complex, St. Louis Community College at Merrimack, or a voter could surrender the absentee ballot at any county polling place and vote in person on Tuesday. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is threatening to use use his nuclear weapons in potential military conflicts with the U.S. and South Korea.
The official Korean Central News Agency is reporting that Kim unleashed fiery rhetoric against rivals he says are pushing the Korean peninsula to the brink of war. In a speech to war veterans, Kim accused the U.S. of demonizing North Korea to justify its hostile policies, and he called the U.S. gangster-like for carrying out U.S.-South Korea military drills targeting North Korea, but blasting the North's military activities, an apparent reference to its missile tests. Observers say while Kim is increasingly threatening his rivals with nuclear weapons, it's unlikely he would use them first against the superior militaries of the U.S. and its allies. I'm Donna Warder.
The First Mid-Bank and Trust Business Desk, Altria, reports its nearly $13 billion investment in troubled vaping company Juul is worth 95% less than it originally paid for it. The tobacco giant took a $1.2 billion financial hit on its investment in the e-cigarette maker, writing down its value to less than $500 million after U.S. regulators announced plans to ban Juul's devices. The Dow from Stifel is up 358 points to 32,555. And we've got some debris that's been cleared on 270 north before Dorset. A crash that's on 44 west past 100 on the right shoulder. Stall 44 west at 141 on the right shoulder.
Back to the very wet conditions as we go through our Thursday afternoon with periods of showers and thunderstorms, some heavy rain possible at times. 82 for the high, but if you get into some of these heavier downpours, temperatures will quickly cool back into the mid-70s. Tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms. Focus on the evening. Again, some heavy rain possible. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. 65 Friday, partly sunny. Limited spot showers. Basically a dry day on Friday. 80 degrees. Saturday, partly sunny, 82. And Sunday, scattered rain and thunderstorms are back. 80 degrees, but that should be the last of this very wet week. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Some drizzle, 87 in Florissant, 86 in St. Peters, 87 downtown, feels like 95. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than four? 314-441-4444.
All right, it's 105 on the show. Amy Marks, Chris Ranji, Kevin Wheeler with you here. We spent a lot of time earlier in the week, actually a lot of time yesterday, too, talking about recovery from the damage done from the storms on Tuesday, late Monday night into Tuesday morning, the flooding that came along with that, and there was a lot of damage done to a lot of places. Well, one of the places that suffered a good bit of damage was the St. Charles location for Sugar Fire Smokehouse, and that has had a big impact on a lot of the employees there for obvious reasons, and because the company itself did such a nice thing for their employees and they're helping with the recovery, we thought it'd be nice to reach out to Matt Martin, who's one of the owners of Sugar Fire, to just talk about what they're doing, why they're doing it, also how our listeners can participate in all of this. So, Matt, welcome into the show, man. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me. We appreciate it.
So let's just start right off the gate. I mean, a lot of damage done on Tuesday morning. A lot of businesses in the area were hit hard, and your St. Charles location was one of them. So just kind of lay out what happened to them and how you guys are trying to help out the folks that work there.
Yeah, just crazy, right? To think you go to bed and then wake up to all that mess.
Yeah.
So like you said, like a lot of people, that was our St. Charles location. So they're, they went right into the thick of cleaning things up and just trying to recover. So for us, we have multiple locations, and the reality is we're really just one big family. So we just, Greg Maderos at our O'Fallon location gave me a call and talked to Kat at Olivet, and we all just kind of had the same heart and feeling that we needed to do something to help our sister location out. So that's what we're doing. So tomorrow we're going to run probably our most popular special. We call it the Rapper's Delight. It's a fresh brisket mac and cheese wrap. It's delicious.
Oh.
Amy, do you get the Rapper's Delight reference?
Oh, she does not.
Well, I know it's a song.
Okay, yeah, good.
Wow.
Good.
Wow.
I mean, I know it's
I'm
a
impressed.
song, but I didn't know if there was a barbecue reference.
Oh, no, there isn't in the song. But
Yeah, that's what
there
I
is here.
figured. Yeah.
So it's spelled a little differently. Rapper, like
Yes.
W-R.
No, I figured that.
So, Matt, describe that and
You
also
got it.
like what you're doing with the special tomorrow.
Yeah, it's just a big delicious wrap. Not really of the healthy sort, more of the delicious sort.
So the good kind.
But so we're going to sell those, and then 100% of the proceeds, every location in the area is doing it, and 100% of the proceeds are going to go to help our employees at the St. Charles store, through this first week or two until we get everything figured out.
And that's such a great gesture and so important, because I know when you work at a place like you do, locally owned, you've got it's almost like you have one restaurant with multiple locations, and it's one big family, and everybody's pulling their weight. And so when one location is hurt, that's a big part of the family.
Yep, no doubt. And it's daily. There's one location calling another, hey, we just took a big order for this. You got any extra? Absolutely. So we're always helping each other out. Always, one team.
It's really a benefit that the Sugar Fire has been so successful enough to open all these locations. And I think about that because had you not had all these locations open, you only had that one store that's been devastated, that maybe, clearly you wouldn't be able to do this, and it might be very difficult to get things back up and running again.
Yep. No doubt. So, it's nice to have brothers and sisters that love you, for sure.
Well, you guys are doing a great thing there, and obviously a lot of locations in the area. So if anybody is in or near downtown, Olivet, Springfield, Farmington, Wentzville, Wing Haven, that's my spot. That's where I go on a regular basis. It's not too far from where we live. Washington, Missouri, O'Fallon, Illinois, Edwardsville, all kinds of area locations for Sugar Fire. You go to those tomorrow. Get yourself the Rapper's Delight, which beautifully named and also an amazing product. and 100% of the proceeds for that will be going to employees that were impacted by the flooding and the damage from the storms coming into Tuesday, because that St. Charles location obviously took the hit. Very cool of you guys to do that, Matt. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it. I'm going to have to come out and get a Rapper's Delight tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
You got it.
Matt, could I get you to open a location in the Central West End, please?
You need one there. Okay. We got it.
Just
put
bring
it
a
on the
truck.
list.
You could park a truck outside my place if you want. I know you have one.
I know you. Don't try to hide the truck.
I've seen the truck.
Hey, we deliver.
Yes, all right, perfect.
Matt's not having your nonsense,
Yeah, I
Ron.
wouldn't
He's
either.
got a business to run.
Yeah.
All right.
Matt, thank you so much, man. Great work by you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that's Matt Martin, one of the owners of Sugar Fire. And again, if you just go to sugarfiresmokehouse.com, you can find your location, and then you can go ahead and get yourself the Rapper's Delight tomorrow. Very cool thing they're doing. And it's not easy for as long as those repairs need to be done to the St. Charles location.
Mm-hmm.
The people that work there don't have work. And in the restaurant industry, having done that work myself, that's a pretty
You're not on salary.
Pretty big deal. No, you're not on salary. It's a pretty big. Well, some would be, but not if you're waiting tables or whatever. I know it's a little different setup at barbecue places than it is in some others, but still the same thing. You don't have anything to do. If you're not at work, there's nothing to be paid. But now they're having an opportunity to go work at the other places, and obviously this will help raise some money for those folks too, because some of them may have had damage themselves.
Yeah,
but very cool of them. And I know that they do work. We work with them here on the station. They sponsor some of the stuff that we've done,
So
and that's my go-to. It's not too far from where I live, and we had there, I would say, on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah, well, and one of my favorite shows is Beat Bobby Flay on the Food Network. I watch it all the time, and they play, the way the Food Network operates is they just play marathons. They'll play Guy Fieri's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, but they play 100 episodes in a row. It's like Friday through Sunday. It's only Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Well, one of the shows that they do marathon runs are like Beat Bobby Flay. And I saw the one with the Sugar Fire crew. I think it was Mike who was on.
Yeah, it was Mike.
Yep,
Yeah.
Mike was on Beat Bobby Flay, and that was very exciting because they talked about Sugar Fire being in St. Louis.
Did he beat Bobby Flay?
He got
I
to
did not
Bobby
see
Flay.
that. I didn't see that episode.
I don't think he beat Bobby Flay, but he beat, the first round. You have to win a preliminary round to compete against Bobby Flay.
Procedural question. Does anybody actually beat him?
Yes.
Because it's his show. I mean,
I know.
you would think that maybe it's rigged.
No, they do beat him, and they have his two friends of his, and they're all like celebrity friends. Pick a chef.
Right.
Pick two chefs that think can beat him, but then they really do have a blind taste test.
Oh.
Allegedly. But they
Well,
do
how
beat Bobby
reality
Flay.
shows are like, some of those things are not, quote, reality.
What?
Scripted.
What?
You know?
Wait, like Love is Blind?
Like that.
Which I have a follow-up, by the way.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it here in 2 minutes?
I can do it here in 2 minutes. Wheels pointed out very astutely something that all of us also noticed, which is there's no body diversity in Love is Blind.
That's not how I put it. I put it that they say that Love is Blind, but they only cast hot people.
They just had the traditional definition of what, a model or an actor or actress would look like, right? Just this, fit person, not a lot of body diversity. So they asked Vanessa Lachey, who is the host, along with her husband, Nick Lachey.
Nick Lachey.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Why there's no diversity. And she said she thinks it's contestants don't make it past the pods portion because they're, quote, insecure. She thinks they're self-selecting. She goes, their whole life, quote, they've been so insecure about being themselves because of this crazy swipe generation that we are in and this catfishing world that we're in. And they're so afraid to be themselves. So she thinks everyone gets a fair shot, but it's only these super fit hot people that make it. I find that so insulting. The people are trying out for the show. They've obviously gotten to a point where they want to be on this show. And to say that if you don't look like the supermodel or Victoria's Secret model that you should be insecure,
hey,
not a great look.
Look, if you want to get further in life, just be hot like me. That's it.
You're speaking figuratively,
You're
right?
speaking figuratively, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean me. I am handsome.
Unfortunately, we're all in the same place in life right now.
I could see myself on this camera, and oh boy,
should we?
You can watch on Facebook. By the way, we're at KMOX's Facebook page.
That would be facebook.com/KMOX1120.
I can see myself in this camera. And
oh, baby.
This is like a regular Love Island we've got going here on the Facebook Live.
I honestly don't know what's worse. The emphasis on emus or Ranji's odd narcissistic love for himself.
Yeah, and I didn't even try today. I'm wearing a t-shirt.
I don't see a difference from how you normally look.
Shut up, Amy.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
I want to thank all my customers and the listeners and the referrals that we've been receiving. The referrals we receive are phenomenal. They're actually, it makes my heart happy. I have seen in the company has experienced phenomenal growth and enormous amount of calls the month of June. I would like to believe that's because we're just like the number one company. We did take a vote, but we're actually number one because I asked 15 of my employees to rate us on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best. They all gave the company a 10. I mean, you might be thinking, well, they don't want to lose their job. I don't roll that way. So here it is. It's Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Bart Inman, 314-293-2600, Missouri and Illinois. Or Bart Inman, that's, I almost forgot. It's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Listen right here this weekend to Everyday Wealth with Soledad O'Brien and Gene Chatsky, presented by Edelman Financial Engines. Your hosts and their guests will explore how our financial decisions shape our everyday lives. For airtimes, visit everydaywealth.com.
Why does it seem like every time I go to the gas station, it cleans out my wallet?
Well, you can thank John Weeman for that. He voted to pass a gas tax increase last year when he could have stopped it in committee.
Really? Why would Weeman do that?
John Weeman will probably try to blame Putin for gas prices like Joe Biden did. But I'm sure some lobbyists told him the gas tax needed to pass. He's not a real conservative. He just does what he's told. Now he's trying to take away resources that could help crisis pregnancy centers.
Is it any wonder Missouri Right to Life PAC didn't endorse him? John Weeman's too wishy-washy. We need someone who'll stand up and fight for us in the state Senate. Somebody like Nick Schroer. Nick Schroer sponsored the law to end abortions in Missouri. He's A+ rated by the NRA, and he helped pass the Second Amendment Preservation Act.
I'm Nick Schroer, and I won't back down when our way of life and our conservative values are on the line.
Paid for by friends of Nick Schroer.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey with a question facing homeowners. Would you sell your current home if you found your dream home? Well, of course you would. And that's why you need to call Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria has a program that eliminates the worry of selling your current home and having to find your next home with inventory being so low. Gloria is expert at finding listed and unlisted homes that match your specific criteria. Let Gloria know exactly what you're looking for, and she'll find your dream home in the neighborhood of your choice. Once Gloria finds a homeowner who may consider a sale but hasn't put it on the market yet, Gloria will inspect that home, set up a private no obligation showing, and negotiate on your behalf at no charge if you want to make an offer. If your offer is accepted, Gloria Lou will also help you sell your existing home. Learn more by calling Gloria Lou at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. That's gloriahasthebuyers.com.
His grandparents were murdered at Auschwitz. He's the son of a Holocaust survivor. His family fled the Iron Curtain of communism to come to America when he was just 14. George Haruza would become a St. Louis-based, world-renowned surgeon educator and physician leader. Now he wants to continue serving others as our next state senator. George Haruza sees the folly of defunding police in the midst of a crime epidemic spreading across our neighborhoods. George Haruza will work to cut state funding to any city that defunds their police. George Haruza supports getting more state dollars into our classrooms, technical schools, and colleges to better prepare students for high-paying, family-supporting jobs. As a doctor, George Haruza understands the importance of affordable and available health care, and that medical decisions should be between a patient and their doctor. George Haruza, because we need life-tested and proven leadership in the state Senate, now more than ever.
Paid for by Haruza from Missouri.
Work or play, KMOX is right there with you. We go where you go.
Thursday on the show here on KMOX, Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. If you'd like to participate, we would love this to be a participation sport on a regular basis. We got great reaction earlier on the text line when we were talking about the possibility of a third party, whether that's appealing to you. And we may bring that back again at some point, because I do think that that's an interesting topic for conversation. And it is all relative. There's no simple answer to it. But seems like there is at least some appetite for something other than what we're being presented with right now. Just don't know that we have that right mix or the right idea just yet, but we'll see. The forward party is going to give it a shot. I'm sure it'll fall on its face, but they'll give it a shot anyway. And of course, if you'd like to be on with us at any point, it's 314-436-7900. You can also use the voicemail line 314-944-1120.
Okay, we talk about crime in the city of St. Louis, and I saw some numbers that were pretty staggering to me. I didn't quite realize it was so bad. And I believe these numbers are through July 13th. So a little bit backdated, but these are through July 13th. How many vehicles have been stolen in the city of St. Louis this year through July 13th?
How many have been stolen in St. Louis?
St. Louis
flat
City.
out guess?
Yeah.
500.
Okay, Ranj?
Well, I think I already know the answer.
Okay.
So do you want me to pretend that
No,
I don't know?
don't
just give the
pretend.
answer.
Give the
I think
answer.
It's over a couple thousand, right?
It is. It's 2,303.
That's a lot of cars.
So, and the reason why I saw that number is there was a story that Hyundai and Kia vehicles are the most often stolen vehicles because of security flaws. And in the city of St. Louis, through July 13th, there have been 669 Hyundai and Kia vehicles stolen alone. Just those two brands. That's 11 of those cars every day throughout the entire year so far. So I was shocked by the number of stolen vehicles. And I know of friends who have stories. I have a friend who had both of her cars stolen in the same weekend because they were packing up to go on vacation. They were going to Florida and it was in the winter. And you know how you throw and they have 3 little kids, and they threw all the luggage in the car, the purse. The car was running to warm up. And they do live in the city, and they ran in to grab the kids, and they run back to the car, and the car is gone. And of course, there were keys to their other car. So they the thieves came back and stole the other car the next day. So we hear these stories, and I'm shocked by how high this number is. But I want to posit that reality with the reality that we have working downtown every day. I can talk to any given person who is downtown every day or who lives in the city, is downtown often. Some of them will say, yes, the crime is so bad. And some of them will say, it's really not that bad. And I can't tell, is that just our own personal biases? Like we want to live in the preferable reality. Do you know what I mean? Because how can I talk to people who we all come down here every single day?
Yeah.
And people will have different experiences.
Yeah, that's what's hard for me, because when I say I don't think it's that bad, it's because I've not experienced any of that.
Right.
But that's anecdotal. That's not saying that what other people are experiencing is incorrect or wrong. I mean, the numbers there are the numbers.
We saw the break-ins at the Blues games.
Yeah.
We know it's a huge issue.
Baseball games too, depending on where you park. Same kind of idea. It's just that, and again, I think that's the part of the problem with this kind of conversation is that our experiences are just that. So I've been coming downtown since 2006, on a regular basis for many of those years, every single day, and I've never had it happen. I've never had any of those things happen, but that doesn't change anything.
Right.
The reality is the reality. So, if we go by our own experiences, if you've had that experience, you might think that it's worse than it actually is because it happened to you. And for someone like me that has been fortunate enough to not have it, it doesn't feel the same as when you hear the stories.
And it depends on how direct your commute is. Are you driving directly to our garage, pulling into their garage and going to work?
Yep.
Or do you walk around? Do you walk to the stadium? Do you walk to lunch every day? I know the Glover
I've done
show.
all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, they walk around a lot. So they have a lot of experiences. Ron, if someone were to ask you, do you feel safe in downtown St. Louis? What would your answer be?
For the most part, I know there's stuff that happens, and I've been a lot to, baseball games, Ballpark Village, that area, Soulard. I've been out a lot out and around in these areas. So it's not like I'm just, when we come to work, we have a place to park, we've got a garage and whatnot, but that's a little bit different because you're not really exposed to being outside. I still have never personally come into contact with anything. Thankfully, I do have friends who have had their cars broken into.
I've had friends that were robbed at gunpoint.
Right. My cousin was.
I had a friend in Soulard who, what was it, 4 years ago now, probably about 2:30 in the afternoon, got carjacked in Soulard and got his car back later. He was driving the car around for a while, I think about a week. And then he had somebody was sitting in his back seat and said, hey man. And he reached down and there was a gun that the police had found the car, didn't realize there was a gun in the car that had been under the seat, gave the car back to my friend. And so my friend had the car for a week and took it back to the police station and said, there was a gun in the car. And the police were like, oh, thanks. And that was it.
Yeah.
But, I've had it happen to other people, just not to me personally.
Yeah. And I do think that it depends on, for the most part, where you're at. There are little pockets of areas that feel safer than other areas. When are you going downtown? Is it for a Cardinals game? And there tend to be a lot of people around. And it's bothersome because we have the numbers. We know the homicide rates are through the roof. Carjackings, oh my gosh, way too many of those. The 2,303 cars stolen in St. Louis from January 1st to July 13th. But then you also see the potential of this city, what it's like when the streets are filled with people because of multiple sporting events, or Ballpark Village, which is such a great place. Now we're going to have the soccer stadium. When I think of, me, here I am, a young person, don't have a family or anything like that. So I don't have to worry about yards and whatever. I'm the prime person to live downtown, right by Ballpark Village. I would love that. I don't feel safe doing that.
For me, it's not a safety issue. For me, it's an issue of there just isn't enough around down there. So I can't, I want to live somewhere where I feel like I can go downstairs and walk to a coffee shop or walk to a store. If I want to get food, there are restaurants there. And I know there's more in the actual Ballpark Village now, but I want something else. I want a neighborhood I can walk around in.
Fix the crime and We need to get more businesses down here. I think they'll come if they feel safe.
And there also have to be people first, though, right?
Oh, yeah, people.
Yeah.
And there have to be
fixing
businesses
the crime
in order
can
for
help
there to be people.
with all of that. Makes my head hurt. Get more of the show coming up after the news here on KMOX.
Did you know that the number one fear when it comes to planning for retirement is running out of money? Makes sense, right? You work 20, 30, 40 years. Now what? Meet Steve All from the All Financial Group. Steve, how can you help us protect and grow our nest egg and also make sure that we don't run out of money?
Well, the two different things we start looking at protection is protection of income. And what we do is that's where we're going to make a pension style income so that we have ourselves covered so that the basic expenses are covered for the rest of our life. The other protection that I like to talk about, what are you doing to protect the gains that you've had over the last couple of years in the stock market? We've had some volatility, and I think a lot of people are a lot more aggressive right now than they really should be. So I would like for you to come in, let's sit down and talk about how aggressive your portfolio currently is, and let's talk about some of the products that are out there that are available, that your assets cannot go down due to market volatility, and the availability of growth, because there are things, cash, CDs, they're not paying anything, but we do have things out there that can give us protected growth. If you haven't heard about them, give me a call. Let's sit down and talk about it.
If you'd like to sit down with Steve one-on-one, get those questions answered, and most importantly, find out how you can also have guaranteed income for life. How does it fit and where does it fit in your retirement income plan? It all starts with a phone call. Call today, that retirement portfolio review, 636-230-8824. Lots of great resources on the website, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC. The All Financial Group and Retirement Wealth Advisors are not affiliated. The All Financial Group is a financial services firm that offers a broad array of products and services, including life insurance and annuities, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
At 1:30, it's partly cloudy and currently 88 degrees downtown at the Arch. Several people have died in flooding in the hills and mountains of eastern Kentucky. It's being called some of the most destructive flooding in that state's history. Floyd County Sheriff John Hunt says search and rescue operations are ongoing.
Fortunately, they're still underway, and they have been since daylight hours pretty much, or even before.
Flooding has also caused evacuations and led to high water rescues in neighboring southwestern Virginia. The U.S. economy shrank for a second straight quarter, raising fears that the nation may be approaching a recession. More interest rate hikes are likely still on the way from the Federal Reserve. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
What we know is that when they raise rates as much as they have in a short period of time, that is often followed by an economic contraction or a recession. And we're not there yet. That's what Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, said during his press conference after the release of the Fed's new interest rate hikes.
We've got a stall 70 west at Union on the right shoulder, 170 north to 270 west, 270 south at Tesson Ferry, 44 west at 141 on the right shoulder. Some debris, 270 north before Dorset has been cleared. And the forecast, a mix of clouds and sun, scattered showers and storms, heavy rain at times today with a high of 82, scattered showers and storms tonight with a low 65, and tomorrow partly sunny with a few showers and a high of 80. Right now it's 88, partly cloudy downtown at the Arch. It currently feels like 97. All the news you need for your day is on the free Odyssey app. Download it now. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
I'm Listening reminds you that talk saves lives, and 988 makes it even easier to reach out and talk. 988 is just like 911 for emergency services. 988 connects you with trained counselors in over 200 crisis centers nationwide. Find out more at imlistening.org.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
I'm Bob Jones, and my brother and I ran J&W Cycles for nearly 40 years here in our community. I learned that when Democrats are in charge, taxes went up on my business, my customers, and my employees. Now that Joe Biden is president, the dollars we do take home don't even go as far. If you vote for me, Bob Jones, as your next state senator, I will work to lower your taxes and to protect our small businesses and farms. It's your money. You earned it.
Paid for by Bob Jones for Senate.
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great!
Because Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis loves buying fix-up homes in any condition, as is, no fees and no commissions. Call 314-782-8000, and Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis will give you a cash offer right now. No strings attached. We buy inherited houses, divorce houses, trashed houses, even those my tenant won't pay rent houses. Call Chris at 314-782-8000 and find out how easy it is to work with us. That's 314-782-8000. Do you think your home will be difficult to sell? Easy. Our team will provide you with personal guidance through our short and simple process to turn your house into a pile of gold. Just call Chris at 314-782-8000. 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And let Chris worry about everything.
Find out what's happening with your Redbirds from the manager himself, Oliver Marmol. Sundays at 10:15 on Sports Open Line. And Wednesday mornings at 9:50. The Ollie Marmol Show.
I'm excited for not only the club, but for the fans. This is a special year for sure.
On KMOX.
Hey! 134 on the show here on KMOX. Chris Ranji, Amy March Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. You can always find us, if you'd like, on Twitter at the show KMOX.
And I have a clarification. According to the KSDK news story on the car thefts and break-ins, that number of over 2,300, which is now over 2,600, that is break-ins, not theft. The original story, not on KSDK, by the way, on a different news source, said thefts, which is why that number struck me as so ridiculously high. I'm going to go delve into this a bit more, but I believe that super high number is 2,003. Well, the 2,600 break-ins,
right?
Not necessarily cars stolen. But again, I'm going to delve into this because now I'm like, why do I see two different words? And they are, to me, those are two very different things. They're both bad. But 2,600 cars stolen is quite different than 2,600 cars having their windows smashed.
Yes. I would say it's more likely break-ins than.
That's what I think.
That the other report is wrong because 2,000, that is a lot.
Well, that's what I
cars
thought. That's why my
stolen.
mind was so blown.
I found some other numbers, and again, these are from other places, so I don't know exactly how to put it into context. But for example, in 2020, there were 21,000 car thefts in Denver. There were 63,000 in Los Angeles.
These are thefts.
Now again, that's 2020, and that's according to the insurance industry. That's insurance.com. They did a study of the cities that have the highest per capita theft rate. Los Angeles was not in the per capita theft rate, but they were the leader with total, right? Because there's so many people there. But 63,000 stolen there. Denver though had 21,000. It wouldn't be, considering that number, it wouldn't be insane to think that there'd be 5,000 in St. Louis in the course of a calendar year, would it?
Oof, I don't know. That seems like an awful lot.
It sure does. But
and again,
is it per city population? Because we've only got about 300,000 here.
Less now.
Right. So the ranking is by the rate. Okay. And that was 2020, not 2021, not currently 2022. But I think it's probably roughly the same year to year, right? Maybe some ebb and flow to those numbers. But I'm talking about when the numbers that I'm giving you on Denver were the total number of vehicle thefts in 2020, according to insurance.com. Wow. 21,000 in Denver.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the reputable KSDK source that said it was break-ins for that total for St. Louis.
It's probably right.
But again, looking at some of these other numbers for big cities, I mean, for example, in 2020, Albuquerque, New Mexico had almost 6,000 vehicle thefts.
Really?
Now, unless they're including break-ins with actually taking the car, but it says vehicle theft. It doesn't say vehicles robbed or vehicles broken into. Maybe they throw them all together.
I don't know. That seems not right.
I'll say this. The Albuquerque population is almost double what St. Louis's population is. And I'm talking about city proper. So maybe that has
but they're going
with
the metropolitan areas. So if you're going to have to do the St. Louis metropolitan area, because that's what these rankings are for. And again, I don't know that it means that one way or the other. I'm just saying that number based on what I'm seeing for other cities, wouldn't be crazy.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, in and of itself
is crazy.
It's crazy.
I know. That's why
21,000 cars stolen in a city like Denver. 21,000.
And there's so much traffic. It would take them a while to get out of the city with the stolen car.
What happens to all of the? I mean, I guess some of them end up recovered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Others, I guess, sold up, chopped up for parts.
You know, where I have a couple friends who've gotten their cars stolen, but both of them were the classic example of it's cold outside and you're warming up your vehicle and you leave it running. Now, Ranj, didn't you have someone break into your car?
And
they left
I don't
stuff
know.
in the car?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but one day I came out to my car and there was a bottle of baby oil in the front seat. And I looked over at it and I went, and it was in my parking lot where I park at my home where I live, and there was baby oil in my car. And I'm like, all right, I've never literally never bought baby oil.
A bottle, right?
A bottle.
Okay.
Like a small one, like a travel size.
Right, but what I'm saying, I wanted to be clear that it wasn't just like there.
Oh, yeah, it
it's
wasn't
in a
all
bottle,
over
it's
the
in a
seat.
container.
Yeah, there was a bottle of baby oil in the car, just sitting there. No baby.
Yeah.
I don't know how it got there.
Baby.
I don't know what. There were no diapers, no powder. There's just a bottle of baby. So I had to surmise that somebody had a good time in my car,
or a friend of yours played a joke on you.
I don't think anybody knows. Well, okay, where I live now, I don't think anybody knows where I park.
Yeah. Did you lock your car?
Really?
I thought so,
but I guess
I don't
not.
remember.
I mean, I've been known to play jokes on friends when I think they've left their car unlocked, or if they've left their keys in a place where I can access their keys and I go move the car, for example.
You do not.
I do.
Kevin.
I do.
I would lose my mind.
But not very far away. Like it's still in sight.
I would move it 3 spots down.
I've
just
done
to
a couple
mess with
times to a friend of mine. Hi, Justin, if you're listening. Where I would do that, and then I would go into his car and I would flip on like Liquid Metal on Sirius XM and turn the volume all the way up. So when he starts his car, he's going to get a little surprise.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I would have for example, Ranj, if I was near where you lived and I thought, I wonder if
you
Ranj's
might
car's
do
on,
that.
I might play a joke on you. I did not do this. I wish I did because that's hilarious. But I would totally do something like that if I had the chance to do it. So maybe your friends were messing with you.
I really don't think so. I think there was a soup kitchen going on in my car. And if you've seen the movie The Other Guys, you know what I'm talking about. Well, you have to see The Other Guys with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell. I'm not going to explain to you what it is.
No, don't.
You have to go watch the movie for yourself because it is a great comedy.
It's
really
not
good.
a great comedy. It's a good
yes,
one.
it is.
It's an okay
No,
comedy.
it's good. It's underrated. It's very, very
I'll go
very
with
good.
underrated. That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Amy's like, I haven't seen it, but sure, that's fair.
Yeah. I know.
I haven't seen any of these movies you guys are talking about, but sure, that's fair.
I'm never going to see him. I don't care. I'm just saying whatever I need to say.
I know this is a little bit of a left turn, but all right. So what? We only got we got a couple minutes here. Do you ever think, I wonder what it's like to see all those movies?
No.
Do you ever go, man, they're all talking about all these things and
it's not like I'm living like Breaking Amish or whatever where I'm not allowed to watch
No,
the
I don't
movies.
mean that, but you don't, right?
I don't watch a lot of movies. And a lot of times if I do see a movie that is just not my style, I think this is why I don't watch movies. You know what I mean? I don't know.
So bad movies make you think I shouldn't watch any other movies.
Yeah, I think I'm just a very picky person.
That's fair.
I'm very G-rated, and you think, okay, well, how picky are you if you watch the Hallmark Channel? But that's the key: is you can walk into a Hallmark movie halfway through the movie and know exactly what's going on. I like background.
That's
noise.
a reason not to watch.
Background noise.
We have got to do that segment we talked about yesterday.
Which one's that?
We have to. The one for Amy.
Oh no!
I don't remember.
We talked about it in our meeting. I don't know if I can say it yet.
Oh,
but it is
yeah. Oh yeah, we are.
We have to do it.
It's a golden segment. It's awesome.
I'm sorry to tease the people, but we've got a segment that we're going to do
Mhm.
regularly with Amy. But we've got some time to get it going.
So I don't like scary movies, and I haven't seen The Sixth Sense. And I have some very mean friends who like scary movies. and they're convincing me that the Sixth Sense is not scary.
I didn't think it was scary.
So what they are going to do, and they threatened to do this, which I think is illegal according to the Geneva Convention. They were going to tie me to a chair and tape my eyelids open and make me watch The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, I don't think you could do that.
Yeah,
I mean, that wouldn't even work.
I know. They're like, we're going to literally hold your eyes open and make you watch
can't
it.
even watch The Sixth
In all
Sense.
honesty, like
Never
The
seen
Sixth
it.
Sense is not what I would call scary.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe creepy.
No, I think there are scary parts
suspenseful,
in it. Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Scary?
Yeah. It's not horror. It's not like gore and stuff, but
Yeah.
there are scary parts in it.
It's a psychological thriller.
It is. It's suspenseful. There's some tension. There's a twist, if you will.
There are a couple of jump moments.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that to me is what scary is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it doesn't have to be a horror slasher. I'm taking an axe. To
No, that's
people
not.
film.
That's gory. That's not scary. Those are different things, right? I mean, I don't know. I can't. I mean, I haven't been scared of a movie since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, of course you haven't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're movies. I know it's not real. Like it's not that hard to be like, yep, I'm at
So
home.
then you don't immerse yourself in a movie when you watch it.
I mean, not when
You're just
there
like
are,
these are all actors. I don't care.
Not when
That's
there
an
are
actor.
not when there are vampires and monsters and such. No, I'm not like this is real.
I see.
This is real. I'm like I'm in my basement. The lights are on. There's no creepers. I'm fine.
I honestly I feel that way at haunted houses. When we go to haunted houses for Halloween, I have people who want to do it, and I always think the people who jump out and scare you, I'm like, you're making $10 an hour.
Let's go to a
like
haunted
that's all
house
I
this
think
year.
about.
No.
I'm into it.
Mm-mm.
Will we
I'm
pay you?
into it.
Mm-mm.
Not gonna happen.
Nope.
All
You're a
right,
baby.
Oh, I voted myself a pay raise wheeling. That's one high-flying, lobbyist-loving, vote-missing, swanky trip-taking state senator. And he just wants to drink more of that swamp water. Woo!
An investigation found that Paul Whelan took more lobbyist gifts than all other Missouri lawmakers. He accepted over $23,000 in lobbyist gifts. Whelan even had special interest groups pay for his expensive trips to places like San Diego and Las Vegas. Maybe that's why Paul Whelan couldn't show up and do his job. He missed 141 votes in the state Senate. One vote he didn't miss. Whelan was one of just 2 lawmakers who voted to increase his taxpayer-funded salary. Now, he wants to keep ripping off taxpayers as Jefferson County executive. On August 2nd, stop the taxpayer abuse. Send Paul Whelan packing for a different kind of trip. Home. Vote no on Whelan for county executive. Paid for by Let's Go Brandon Pack. Chris Vass, treasurer.
I'm Stephen Lynch at Volvo Cars West County. Our inventory is ramping up, and so are the deals. Visit today for $1,000 bonus cash offer and great markdown on select 2022s. Pick up a plug-in hybrid and get a $7,500 tax credit. Come see why Volvo Cars West County is the #1 Volvo dealer in Missouri. So when you think of Volvo Cars West County on Manchester Road, 4 miles west of 270, or go online for a seamless online purchasing.
Dan Schall is an Air Force veteran who took an oath to defend our Constitution. He is 100% pro-life and 100% pro-Second Amendment. In the Senate, Dan Schall will combat the Joe Biden inflation economy and get Missouri back on track. Conservative Dan Schall for a stronger economy, for a stronger Missouri. The Republican primary is August 2nd. The Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry is responsible for the content of this advertising. Paid for by Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Dan Meehan, CEO, 428 East Capitol, Jefferson City, Missouri, 65101.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman with ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com. We've been buying a lot of houses lately with foundation and water damage. So if you have a house that has water issues, maybe water's coming in the basement or problems from previous water damage such as mold, we're interested in making you an all-cash offer. If you have a house with water or mold damage, foundation issues, please reach out. 314-946-9999. 314-946-all-9. Receive your all-cash offer today. ClaymanGroup.com.
Hi, this is Ken Newbold at Newbold BMW. The new all-electric BMWs are here, and it proves that you don't have to be ugly to be electric. Come and drive one of these, and you'll kick your Tesla to the curb. That's Newbold BMW in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldbmw.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Hello, this is Dave Walker, former Comptroller General of the United States. The federal government has grown dramatically, promised too much, lost control of its budget, and must restructure its finances in order to create a better future.
I agree, Dave.
This is Ken Heisey from Heisey Advisory Group, and you're invited to a special event on Thursday, August 25th. Dave and I will talk about our country's financial issues and how they may impact your retirement. Learn why it's critical to take action now and discover strategies that can help protect your future. If you've saved at least $750,000 for retirement, call 314-328-4400 to register for this special event. After a decades-long mission to promote fiscal responsibility at all levels of government, you won't want to miss what Dave has to say. Call 314-328-4400.
Dave Walker is not affiliated with and does not endorse Heisey Advisory Group or AE Wealth Management, LLC. Heisey Advisory Group may not provide tax advice and is not affiliated with the U.S. government. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
In the Republican primary for U.S. Senate, Missourians have one clear conservative choice: Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler. Promoting and protecting Missouri values, she's a leading advocate for our veterans, ensuring that those who have served our nation have access to the best possible care. Vicky Hartzler has fought for our rural hospitals, and she's continuously pushed to have essential medication available for those in need. For our safety and security, Vicky Hartzler has led the effort to bring medicine production back to the United States. Vicky Hartzler, a proven fighter with a record of getting things done. Missouri has the chance to elect a true leader with a servant's heart. On August 2nd, vote for Vicky Hartzler for U.S. Senate. This message paid for by the American Society of Anesthesiologists PAC, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. ASAHQ.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Did you know that one of the health benefits of swimming lessons is burning more calories than jogging while providing ease on your joints? SwimOnFoundation.org.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 314-441-4444. Kevin Wheeler. Nice. Amy Markscourt.
Fabulous.
Chris Ranji.
Unbelievable.
On the show.
All right, it's a show on KMOX, DGS, coming up top of the hour. Amy Markscourt, Chris Ranji, Kevin Wheeler with you here. And as always, you can find us on Twitter at the show KMOX.
I got to correct something real quick. We were just talking about The Sixth Sense. We spent that entire time talking about that movie. I was thinking of Signs.
Oh, yeah. I've seen Signs.
I do that all the time.
Also not scary.
There's the alien part where you just like it shows up and it scares you. But then there's also there's a couple of Sixth Sense parts, like where the girl.
I love that movie, by the way.
Okay.
Signs is way better.
Signs is great.
It's way better than The Sixth Sense.
So I was going to say, my friends who love all the scary movies, they said that low key Signs is totally a legit movie. They like it.
Yep. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I think it's great. By the way, guys, I'm going to win $1 billion tomorrow. I don't know what you're doing.
Oh, really? Hold on a second. Because we got a listener who jumped in on the voicemail line that says you're wrong.
No, I have the winning tickets. And when I win Mega Millions Friday, nobody around me is going to need money because I'm moving to a rich neighborhood.
Okay.
He doesn't say I'm going to give. He doesn't say nobody around me is going to need money because I'm going to take care of them. He's like, I'm just going to surround myself with wealth.
That was such a great left turn that is like perfectly in line. It's so on point.
He's right, though. You have to. And you got to live in a gated community. Hopefully, the gates are really, really tall. And maybe a turret at the top of like the strategic corners to keep the other people out.
The riffraff.
What's really funny is there are all these stories every time the Mega Millions gets up there, Powerball or whatever. There are always these stories about people and like the advice you get if you happen to win. like what you should do. And one guy wrote yesterday, it was in USA Today, and he said, you have to get yourself a fall guy. And I call it a no person. I'm going to get, if I ever win this thing, I'm going to get a person whose only job it is to tell other people no for me.
Oh, that's smart.
That's not what was meant by the fall guy. The fall guy, there's an old, like, I forget who it was, but
he
somebody
called
had
it a fall guy. It was like Michael Irvin or something. It was
Michael Irvin, but he was talking about the guy that when you get in trouble is going to take the heat for you. Not the guy that's just going to tell people no, but like if you end up in trouble, he's going to be like, I did it.
But I get Ronji's
but
definition.
This guy did call it a fall guy. And I'm like, well, I call it a no person, but it was the exact same concept. It was somebody who you have like if somebody reaches out to you and says, hey, can you give me money? Or what about this? You direct them to your person, your fall guy, your no guy. And that no guy is just responsible for telling everybody no.
That's
There's
such
no
a
money
good
for
idea.
you.
That is such a great idea. Because that's the part that bothers me the most. Because I too, I'm pretty sure I'm going to win, even though I don't play and I haven't bought a ticket. But in my head,
you'll win anyway.
Yeah, but in my head, I'll win. Yeah, I do have time. I need to buy a ticket, and it's telling people no, which means too, we just passed that law like last year in Missouri, where you do not have to make your name public if you win the lottery. And I didn't want to win until we passed that law, and so now that we have passed the law, I can win, and I don't have to tell anybody.
If I win, when I win, I'm going to make the announcement right here on KMOX.
And then
I won! What? And then I'm going to be like, now I'm going to do whatever I want.
Yeah. Do you know what I would do? Is I would say that I won. And obviously I'm going to, walk away. But before I walked away, I would say the forbidden phrase that starts the WWE things. And I could just pay the fine. It wouldn't matter.
I am going to have a spectacular firing. That's my plan.
Spectacular.
Dude, by the way, the total.
If you're that happy, why would you get fired? I would be so happy. I'd be like, I'm not going to get fired. I'm done. I don't even know that I would totally quit.
Because then you get greedy and you could get severance.
Yeah, I might.
No, you know what I would do? I think I would stay. I would remain coming to the job, but every time I'd be asked to do something, I would just say, nope. I don't want to. And when the boss is like, I need you to, like, no, I'm not doing it, and see how far I can push it.
You would be that guy.
Yeah, just for fun. And then he'll say, okay, that's enough of this. And then I'll say, I don't care. I just won $1 billion. I'm leaving. Goodbye. By the way, the total is up to $1.1 billion.
Wow.
For the drawing tomorrow night at 10 o'clock.
So you'd get $550 million.
How many?
Fine.
How many?
550 mil.
Cash money. Let's go.
Yeah.
And
I think you got to take
the first thing? The first thing you're going to buy? Well, you guys are not very much fun. You didn't think about this?
Probably like an amazing dinner. Like I'm going to celebrate that night. Then the next thing's probably a new real fast ass car. And I'm going to pay for all those speeding tickets that I'm going to get, but I don't care because I'm a billionaire.
Yeah.
Or half a billionaire, whatever.
I'm going to
at 500 mil.
I'm going to take my 550 mil and complete the wall at the southern border because I know how important it is to you, Amy.
No. Oh, my gosh. She's always slandering me. I've said nothing about that. I would buy a nice pair of shoes.
I would buy a $550 million pair of shoes.
No, they're not. The shoes that I would want are not terribly expensive. They're just out of my price range, which is funny because I love clothes shopping, but I don't buy a lot of shoes. So I'd buy a nice pair and I get my good pair of shoes and then I'll go house shopping.
I will give each of you, when I win the 1.1 bill, I will give each of you $1,000, no questions asked.
If you just gave me $1,000, I would punch you.
I would throw it back in your face.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I'd keep it, but I'd still hit him. Better be more than that, buddy.
1,000?
You all get, all right, 2,000. I'm feeling generous.
Raj, hope you're feeling better, buddy. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Amy, hope you're feeling better, too, after all that nonsense.
Oh, I feel great.
DGS coming up next here on KMOX.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Well, if you've lived in St. Louis for a long time, you know that weather plays havoc on the outside of your home. And that's why Banner Construction specializes in the best James Hardy fiber cement siding and Pella